Hello, everybody, and welcome to Infinite Horizon. We are so excited for tonight's episode. Caitlin's freaking out. I love it.
I'm so excited.
Yes, John, correct. That is the wrong show. John just goes, rooms in chat.
I almost did it. I forgot to this time.
Well, we are here, and we're getting ready to get into tonight's episode. But before we do, predictably, we have some announcements. Henry, if you wouldn't mind.
All right, welcome everybody. Thank you so much for being here. I'm going to run through these announcements real quick so we can get to playing. First of all, we are affiliates here on Twitch. So not only can you follow us here, you can subscribe and support us and help us keep the lights on. Another great way to support us is Patreon. That's a place where you can find behind the scenes snippets and tomfoolery, updates on what we're working on, and what I think is cool, some opportunities to take part in world building for our TTRPG streams. And yet another quick and easy way to support us is our coffee. You can see little short-term goals of ours and toss a few bucks our way if you are able. Now, I'd like to tell you about another thing. Our Infinite Horizon episodes are now on YouTube, which is, I think, to a lot of people, more familiar, more accessible platform. So check them out there. There's also the character prologues for Infinite Horizon for each of the 4 player characters.
Yep, and new episodes go up on the YouTube on Fridays.
Fridays, yes.
Friday mornings.
Yet another way to consume Infinite Horizon is in podcast form. There's a link to Anchor where you can find it on several different platforms. So perfect for your morning commute or something like that. And those go... Oh, so go ahead.
I was just going to say, weird podcasts are currently available on Anchor, Spotify, Breaker, Google Podcasts, and Radio Public. If you need the RSS feed, you can also get that off of Anchor, but if not, just at me or Rule of Lore, and I can find it for you.
Boom. And those go up on Sunday? Mm-hmm. What's the time, Lucas?
I usually do noon on noon central, so 10
Great.
Pacific and 1 Eastern. I can do math.
There we go. Time zones. What are
Good.
those?
Wow. On the spot. Good job. We have a Discord where we announce when we're streaming and talk about whatever the heck we want, whatever the heck you want. Share your own projects, talk about our shows, share memes. It's a nice community. Join us on Discord.
Okay. Well, is that everything? I feel like there was... We have a topic from Ramblemancy this week too, right?
Yes,
Nature.
It is this.
Nature, that's right.
Yeah. Nature, and especially its place in stories, perhaps fantasy and sci-fi. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Geekouts is currently in the chat espousing the merits of our Discord.
I thought he was talking about nature.
Cool.
It's a great place.
That too.
Excellent.
That too. Yeah, that's right. Geekouts frequently post pictures of beautiful tacos. So if you want food envy, that's the place. All right. I think that pretty much covers us for everything, right?
We could keep making up announcements.
We'll just keep making them. That's gonna be the whole
so
show.
that I don't have to fly the ship and roll once, maybe.
That's okay, Caitlin. I'm sure you'll be fine. As you may have noticed, our very own Olivia is not here with us today. She's had some incidents with unnecessary teeth being removed, and is, I believe, currently in the chat. Although how long she will be able to be there is anybody's guess. Olivia, feel better soon.
Wish her well. They stole her bones.
Yes. I think that's all of it. So, without any further ado, let's get into tonight's episode of Infinite Horizon. Oh, that's not the right thing. I got it. I know how to do this.
Some will say this is the end. This
And we are back. Welcome back. All right. So last time on Infinite Horizon. Hold on, let me transition away from so I'm not looking at distracted by chat and all you distracting people out there.
Sorry, by chat, we love you, but
we love you, but you are distracting. So previously on Infinite Horizon, our group of heroes had awoken on a doomed spacecraft crashing on a planet on the far reaches of known space. However, upon escaping, they found themselves on a colony that had been established on this world, whose inhabitants had mysteriously seemed to just disappear. During the course of ship repairs and exploration, Peach and Mason managed to find a group of survivors that had holed themselves up in a supply closet in the research facility on the colony. While conversing with the survivors, they learned that some strange happenings had befallen the colony only about a week before, where some portion of the research material that had been under study in the research facility on the colony had potentially caused some of the colonists to turn, I mean, the best way of describing it is feral, attacking their fellow colonists and basically just creating a hazardous situation all around. In the process, the long-range communication system had been damaged, preventing them from calling for help or for sending any, actually also even preventing any launches from the colony, as everything had been handled by the automated landing system. As Peach and Mason were having this conversation with the survivors, Bina and Olam had been on the ship attempting to remove the boot that had been placed on the ship's hyperdrive. Successfully, I might add. Together they worked to remove that and got it completely out without any complications, except that the ship, seemingly for no reason, just lost all power. No complications, except for that one complication where the ship just stopped working. It seemed not to have a cause, however, and after many diagnostics being run, eventually Bina was able to manually start the engine, which got the power jumped again. In the meantime, Peach and Mason had coordinated with the survivors of the colony to send most of them, to the ship where Olam and Bina were waiting for them, while Peach and Mason themselves went along with the colonists, a couple of the colonists, to repair the long-range communications sensor. At which point they were beset by some of these feral colonists known by the survivors as the Warped. They then managed to successfully repair the long-range beacon, but then had to fight their way through these Warped, and Peach displayed a significant level of power in dazzling these creatures and preventing them from taking any actions whilst they all made their escape. They ran back to the ship all the way across the colony, arrived on the ship, having just, with a little help from Bina and her distractions, utilizing the ship's weapons systems, managed to escape onto the vessel just in time to receive communication, or a sensor ping, that a large capital ship had entered the system, displaying some of the registration of Silverbreak Technologies, the very same corporation that was in charge of this, not only the colony, but the very ship where our heroes awoke. At which point, some of the colonists attempted to hail them, in particular the second Lieutenant Jareth Decker, who is sort of de facto leader of the survivors, attempted to hail them, receiving no response except for, as Bina detected, the ship's weapon systems powering up in orbit. And that's where we left off last time. So, this is where we pick up as that moment for that registers with Bina, and none of you have actually seen these readings yet, except for Bina, but all of you are feeling that sudden spike of panic.
Yeah, all of you feel panic immediately.
Once again, Olam, this is the second time you've felt this. For the rest of you, this is the very first time that you're certain you're feeling the spike of panic that absolutely isn't your own. And as you look around, you can see as Bina has tensed up and she's just like whipped around to stare at all of you.
We gotta go. She's gonna. I think she'll pull up like the full turn on like the console so that the screen is up and presumably they can see now what I'm detecting. I want off this planet now.
Yeah, I think it's time to go.
All right. So, at this point, you have the rest of you have sort of caught sight of the sensors and have seen what Bina is panicking about.
Shit.
Okay,
You can get us out of here,
let's
yeah.
go. Where are we gonna go?
I am booting everything up.
Yeah, currently the
all
ship
four
systems are
arms
just
flying.
You can hear the hum as the ship systems start coming online one by one, just sort of booting up. Bina just sort of canceling messages that are like warning messages that like you haven't run through the entire pre-flight check, and you're just like canceling those messages.
And
And
we're
just,
not going to.
I like see Bina getting everything ready. I kind of like turn to some of the survivors. I'm like, I think we should all sit down and strap in. Okay?
Yeah, y'all have been with Bina in panic flight mode before.
Yeah.
We are not off the ground. She is still freaking out. This is not the adrenaline rush yet. This is her actually afraid.
Right.
Okay, I need some clarifications. Are we inside of a building?
You're on the landing platform, which is in the middle of a building, but it is open to the sky.
Okay. They are in orbit?
Yes.
Okay. Weapons are charging. We can tell they're aimed at us, or we can just see that weapons are charging.
You can see that weapons are charging. It looks like they're not targeting you specifically. The weapons seem to be aimed towards the colony.
Do I know if they see us, this ship?
Well, there have been attempts to hail them already from your ship, which
I hailed them specifically from the docking bay, not
right,
the ship.
Right. You don't know.
For that reason specifically.
Right.
That
You
was
don't
why-
know if they've seen you specifically
Okay.
or not. But you know that
This-
they know that you're there.
They okay.
Basically you've received no response from your hails, but you know they've received
No,
them.
they've received the hails from the colonists. Okay.
Right.
Excellent. Okay. And this colony is small, low buildings?
Mostly, yeah.
Landscape of this area?
It's other than the exact area where the colony is, it's kind of hilly, and yeah.
And we're a pretty big ship. We're not tiny.
What are you thinking? If we like skirt low enough to the ground, we could get away from the site where their weapons are aimed
Yeah.
without being detected? That would be pretty sick.
That's my hope. I mean, there's not like mountain ranges in the distance or anything. Like, it's all pretty flat. Like, we can just kind of see the horizon and that's it. Maybe it's
yeah, pretty
infinite.
much.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
At this point,
I just want liftoff. We just
Okay.
need to get going.
Yeah.
I just needed a better, like, a picture in Caitlin's brain of what Bina was seeing.
Sure. At this point,
Okay.
as you're lifting off, Peach has jumped into the co-pilot's chair and is now also attempting to hail them, still with your reroute. And she's just sort of talking to them, just like, "Listen, we are here where we have a bunch of survivors. We've seen a lot. And we've already contacted a bunch of people. She's basically just starting to like." You can see she's basically lying through her teeth right now, just like saying that you've contacted somebody and that they know everything, and if something happens, they'll know it, and it's just sort of running through all of this
Okay.
stuff.
Okay.
Still to no response, but that doesn't seem to be deterring Peach. She's still going.
Okay, as I'm like trying to lift up, I'm keeping an eye on sensors to make sure. I want to know that like the status of their preparation to fire. Like, I want to get us out of here and I want to beat it.
Yeah. as you are just rising up, you've just gotten above the level of the building itself, and immediately have turned and started moving off. And as you do, you see the first blast come down from orbit as just this enormous laser blast just strikes right in the center of the colony. You can see as it just there's this huge explosion behind you, the concussive blast rocking the ship, even though it was not close to you.
I want to head towards the crash from before.
Okay.
So I'm staying low. I don't know if it'll help. If anyone knows anything about fooling sensors or making ourselves invisible, I don't know if that's a thing. Bina probably wouldn't know that, but if there's anyone on the ship, she's yelling about it. Anyone in any of the survivors, if any of them know anything about that, she's going towards the crash site.
Okay. So here's a thing that you would note. Most vessels that are capable. Okay, most of the weapon systems in this galaxy are just hyper accelerated tiny projectiles, and so like most of it is that. There are energy weapons such as the ones you've seen, although they are, like the personal ones, like personal energy weapons, are primarily held by militaries or the very wealthy. Every once in a while, some black market ones find their way into some less than savory hands. On a vessel of this size, of the size that's currently in orbit, it's an unusual thing to have that kind of firepower on a vessel of that size.
It was an energy beam that we saw hit, and that is unusual. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, Bina's gonna say, okay, we're like flying, and she's like, Olam, I want you on sensors. I want you to find some place for us to hide.
Okay.
And she's just gonna be like rattling off like everything she can think about the ship and how to like interface things. And then she's like, Mason, weapons, just in case.
I'm on it.
Yeah, you find the weapons console as you sort of sit in the chair and just activate the weapons console, which just slides out of one of the wall panel and just sort of with the targeting yokes ready.
This is not quite a handgun, but I think I can work my way around it.
Yeah, I think as she's flying, Bina is just listing everything she knows about ships that are this size, because you said she doesn't know this type of ship specifically, but she knows ships like it. So she's just spouting every piece of trivia she knows about how this bridge works for herself, and also hopefully to maybe encouragement to assist the people on the bridge, because she has training in piloting. So maybe that will help. You can give me the encouragement from my party.
Yeah. So encouragement that's a thing that it's for any number of. Okay.
It's my allies in the immediate area, I believe. Okay. I can double check for you, and we can keep going. But
I'm pretty sure that's the case, but I just wanted to double check.
Allies plural, gain an asset.
Cool.
Okay.
All right. So Bina's basically just rattling stuff off, information, and suddenly you're like, it's like, on the one hand, you can feel that she's talking to you and she's giving you information, but you also know you're not processing it. At the same time, you can also feel it sinking in. You just know somehow.
The way she's describing it probably is not orthodox and probably is not extremely helpful, but the words don't matter. You still get it.
It's like it's more of a feeling than anything.
Yeah, even though her words aren't 100% a very good or linear way of describing anything.
Does the aura that seems to give off her emotions kind of like help buoy the words and make it make sense in a weird way to us, I wonder?
Pretty much. That's what it is. It's less that you have your own knowledge of this stuff or that her knowledge is helping you. That she's like, because she's speaking in just like incomplete thoughts. She's just rattling stuff off. It'd be incomprehensible otherwise. But it's more of a feeling. It's like you feel the knowledge.
You have an instinct for a ship vessel, even if you've never piloted one before.
Yeah. Okay, so the next blast comes down behind you as you've started taking off away from the
closer
colony.
To us, further from the colony and closer to us.
What?
As like trailing where we're going,
nope.
Or still at the colony?
Still at the colony.
Okay.
Decker is like currently strapped into one of the passenger seats, and he's just staring. He says, "I don't understand. They're just glassing the place."
It's a good way to get rid of evidence, I guess. I don't know. Competitors?
He just like sinks down into his seat. Like he's been kind of like tense on the edge of his seat up until now, and just at those words he just sinks down into his seat and is silent basically.
Did they know there was a problem and not care about collateral damage? They just wanted the warp gone and didn't care if there were any survivors?
Peach turns. She said, sort of finally stopping her ending her attempts to contact them. She just turns and says, "Maybe we can figure this out later. Right now, we just need to." And then she just holds her temples suddenly. She's just clutching them as she just eyes sort of like screwed shut in pain.
He's like, "Oh no, I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't like that. What do I feel from her?"
Just extreme anguish is what you're feeling at the moment.
Oh no.
No.
And as she sort of convulses for a moment, she just sort of eventually, you can see as she relaxes, but you can tell she's definitely unconscious.
Oh no.
damn.
Oh no. Oh no. I
Uh-oh.
can't. Oh no.
I'm at the sensory array, like getting ready to scan, and then I go over and like check. I check vital signs if I know how to do that.
Yeah. I'm not gonna make you make a roll. I'm just gonna have you like lean over and feel. Her vitals seem normal, pulse slightly elevated, but that might be as a result of whatever seizure she might have just had.
Oh God.
But you
I'm
can.
keeping
She's
one feeler for her. I'm focusing on flying, but like in a background, I want to make sure she's like still kicking
Yeah.
as we're going.
Yeah, you feel like the same thing that you normally feel when people are like unconscious or asleep around you. That's what you feel from her right now.
Does Olivia get an XP? GM intrusion.
No, because this is the convenient way of the GM sidelining her character
know.
for now.
I look inside Peach's mouth and count her teeth. Just kidding. That's a deep cut. No, it's not. I just make sure she's like strapped in safely. And then, are there any other survivors like seated in here in the bridge or cockpit or whatever you call
Right
this?
now, I think it's just Decker that's in here right now.
Okay, I say.
I think Coleman and Decker were up here with
Coleman
us.
was here, but she ran back.
And went back down.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just turn and say like, keep an eye on her, please, and then go back to try to start activating the
All right.
sensors.
So, in your rear view, you can actually, in your rear display, you can actually see as blast after blast just keeps coming down. There is no doubt in your minds that exactly no part of that colony is going to survive this.
Oh, I hope all of the survivors were in one place and that they were all the ones on our ship.
At this point, you, Decker, who is leaning over, sort of making sure that Peach is fully strapped in, glances over at the console, and you, Bina, following his gaze, notice that on the console, it looks like you are being hailed.
Don't answer that. Don't answer that.
He says, "But what if?"
Do not answer that. No, do not answer that. Are you kidding me? No, not a chance.
Is it coming from the vessel?
Yeah.
The big, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No.
I guess that makes sense.
No one's home. No one's home.
No one.
No one's
We'll
home.
just keep flying.
He says,
They can leave a message, and I'll listen to it later. We're not.
"Okay." Decker finishes strapping Peach in, and then he goes back to his seat, straps himself back in, and just sits there staring straight out the forward viewport.
I do whatever the ship equivalent of go to voicemail is. They can leave us a recording if they want to, but we're not engaging with them.
Ooh. It looks like we got
Olivia.
Olivia, thanks for the subscribe. Okay, so after a few attempts at reaching you, at hailing you, eventually the attempts stop, and instead you hear your communication system crackle as it begins receiving just a wide-range broadcast. As you hear a male voice coming through, saying, "Attention, unidentified ship. This is Damian Ellis of Silverbreak Technologies. I recognize that you have absconded on some property of mine, that vessel. And I also recognize, given some of the other wreckage that we have detected on the planet, that you may in fact be some of our property.
No.
Uh-oh.
Now, I don't know what you saw on the colony, although I assume it was nothing that I would have preferred you to have seen. That said, I'm going to give you exactly one chance. You can turn yourselves in, and this won't need to go any sort of ugly direction. Alternatively, I can tell you right now, we have you outgunned. There's no way that you are getting out of here in one piece. So, I implore you, turn yourselves in. Make the smart play.
Obina's whole demeanor switches. She does not like that one bit.
Yeah. You, the communication, the transmission ends. Decker just sort of frowns and says, "Ellis, but no." He's now looking very surprised. You can actually feel the surprise radiating off of him. He says, "He's the CEO of Silverbreak Technologies. There's...
Oh, fuck.
Why would he...
Writing in my notes, basically, sorry.
Decker just sort of head in hands right now. He just says, "I'm sorry." He unclips himself. He says, I think I've learned enough for one day." And he gets up and just starts exiting the cockpit, going back down the hallway.
Fair enough.
How close are we to that wreck site?
The wreckage? You're probably like less than a mile at this point.
Okay, as fast as I can towards that. It was wrecked this morning. I am assuming there are still just huge plumes of smoke billowing
absolutely.
up towards the sky.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. Even without your sensors, you'd be able to find it. It's not...
That's okay. That is what I want. Okay, so I want to... I'll pick up speed if I can while we're still in atmosphere. I want to get to the wreck site, into this plume of smoke, follow it up as high as it will go, and then go to FTL.
Okay. Sounds good. So,
do you mention this? Does Bina say any of this stuff out loud?
Yeah, I think she's been talking nonstop.
Yeah, just kind of same.
Yeah, she is like, she has gone from panicked to angry and very laser focused, I think.
yeah.
We did not like that message.
Hey, Bina, I like turn away from the sensor console. Listen, what's gonna happen if we go to FTL without a conduit? That's the only issue I see with this plan.
We have. I thought you said this ship had FTL, like the boot was preventing FTL.
Yeah, it is, but sorry, I think Olim, the question that you're raising, Henry, is about specifically about not knowing where to go, or...
Yeah, I guess maybe, or normally don't ships, am I wrong about this? They use a conduit to like help guide them? Is the conduit more like
only in between regions of space.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So I'm not gonna fuck us over by going FTL for a short jump just to get out of their
Just to
sensor
get out
range.
of this
Excellent.
situation,
Yeah. The advantage of conduits, just just to reiterate, the advantage of conduits is that you can go further on without burning fuel, basically.
It's like a slingshot, and you can plop yourself where you need to go.
Because ordinarily it would take many times longer to reach the same destination through FTL, and your ships are incapable of carrying enough fuel to make that trip
Yeah,
themselves.
yeah.
Great. So with a shipboard FTL, we could maybe get to another nearby star, or
Yes.
only elsewhere in this solar system. Okay.
Not within the solar system. Within like a relatively local region of space. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. I know you've explained this before.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We're all learning. It's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Olem, find me an endpoint. Find me an endpoint.
Oh yeah. All right. Great. Okay. Can I look for a star that either is recorded as having or looks like it could have like habitable planets that we could reach with our FTL
You can
in this
look,
uncharted part of space?
but yeah, exactly. That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
It's gonna be much harder to find than it would be in a known region. But you can attempt it.
I want to do my best to at least find a star that looks like it's capable of supporting like rocky planets that could fall in the life zone or whatever.
Right. Okay.
Right?
So
Yeah.
Or even just finding us a place to hide, honestly.
Yeah,
Doesn't
I guess
matter.
that's true. Yeah.
So we'll hold on to that for a second because as you are approaching the wreckage, I'm going to offer you a GM intrusion.
Oh no. Oh no, you guys. I'll take it.
Okay. Okay.
Oh no, this is a bad idea.
So,
Hoping they won't shoot us out of the fucking sky.
uh,
I can swear in the show, right? I'm gonna swear a lot.
as you are approaching the wreckage, still flying pretty low to the ground, to where you know that sensors are going to have a hard time picking you up, you are just approaching the last hill towards the wreckage, and just as you're flying over it, you, the ship's alarms just start going wild around you, as you, without even thinking about it, you just yank the controls, because at this point, your view screen just goes completely dark because it is compensating for the bright flash of light that has just shot down from orbit and smashed right into the wreckage. So I'm going to need you to make a piloting check here, Caitlin.
Fuck yeah, buddy, give it to me. What are we rolling?
All right. This is going to be this is definitely going to be a speed roll, and the difficulty is going to be 5.
Fuck, dude. Okay.
No, sorry.
my gosh.
The difficulty is actually going to be 6. Yeah.
Oh man.
Jesus. Do I get any assistance from my friends who are on sensors?
Sure. I'll allow that to count as an asset. I think it's Olem who is on sensors, so I'll allow him to count
Yeah.
as an asset there.
Just the barest split second before it happens, I'm like, hey, wait a
Incoming. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
what is that? Ah!
Are we getting hit
Okay.
with shrapnel or is it a shockwave?
It's literally
Or is
just
it
the energy blast. Same stuff
Okay.
that was hitting the colony. It's now. It seems they seem to be targeting the wreckage now.
Okay.
Okay, excellent. Okay, so assistance from my friends at sensors.
Yes.
Does the ship give me anything? Just the ship itself? Does it have any sort of
Yeah,
like?
yeah. The ship can count as an asset bait here.
Okay.
Yeah.
My sight, my whole thing is with light and sight. Any perception task that involves sight, does this help with that at all to maneuver?
Yeah, I think it'll help because not so much in. I mean, you got to know where you're avoiding.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
So yeah.
Okay. Piloting.
Yep. So it brings it down to a difficulty 2.
I'm going to spend a level of effort.
Okay.
And that is 3 points out of my speed.
So that brings
a
us to a
trigger.
difficulty of 1, right?
I'm so scared.
All right.
Okay.
So you're better.
I just want everyone to appreciate that I just dropped that 5 levels.
Yeah.
Something.
Holy shit. Okay. 6.
Whew, okay.
Woo!
Heck yeah.
So, in that moment, you veer off course suddenly, sending the entire vessel into a sudden and violent barrel roll as you
Oh, fuck yeah.
just veer quickly away from the blast as the barrage now starts landing on the wreckage. The same thing that was happening in the colony. It seems like they are intent on destroying all of it, everything.
Excellent.
Even
Good.
what
I wanna fucking hide in that carnage, man.
Yeah.
That's the point. They're making it easier for me.
Here's what I will say is it's possible that they were targeting just additional evidence to destroy,
That's fair.
but you don't know that.
Yes, I know.
So
I know.
just to give you an idea of where you're at with that.
The hope here is to get crafty and they'll think they got us in that wreckage too. So if they're aiming at that ship and that's where I'm going to hide before we fucking jump the fuck out of here, all the better for us to maybe fool them. I don't know.
All right. So basically, what you have done is, you avoided that initial blast, but you're finding yourself essentially just in the middle of a blast zone. As riding that piloting check, you just start diving and swerving out of the way of all these laser barrages that are coming down.
Anyone who's still feeling it, or probably had her initial that they were all feeling probably mellows out at some point, and it went from the fear of that moment. Now she is a combination terror and thrill. This is she is elated right now.
Yeah. If there was a cut back to the passengers, they're all just being just completely tossed around in the hold of the ship.
We told them to strap in. They're okay back there.
I mean, they're strapped in. It doesn't make it less violent. So, yeah, at this point, as you finally make it out of the blast zone, you're glancing back, and you can see basically where just the entire area where the wreckage was has just been destroyed. Just a huge crater in the ground now, where there already was quite a sizable one, but now there is nothing recognizable as a structure in there. Whereas before, even after that reactor blew, when it crashed, even after that, there was still plenty of vessel still recognizably there. Mm-hmm. Not so anymore. Now, anything that might have been standing there still has been slagged or just vaporized. And at this point, you can hear the comms crackle again, and you just hear that same voice come through. Saying, well, I guess you've made your choice. Goodbye. And it just sort of cuts out.
Oh boy.
With just sort of an ominous silence, other than the sounds of the ship around you. Olim, you're looking at the sensors, and you can see that the vessel is once again powering up its weapons.
Are we still airborne right now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You also are hearing at that exact moment, Olim, you see that, and you can hear the ship's alarms blaring once again. This time, being as you glance down the display, you can see target lock.
Cool.
Talk to me, guys.
Cool.
Is there anything I can help with?
They're powering up. We got seconds.
Oh boy.
What do I know about? Are there evasive maneuvers I can engage in, or is there anything we can do to counteract what they're blasting at us on this ship? What do I know about this ship?
This ship, very little. You haven't had a whole lot of time to play around with it. You know that the engines, this is a fast ship.
Yes.
That is one thing that you know. Based on the engines that you saw, they're far more advanced than what a ship of this class would normally have in it. You're not sure about. You haven't had a chance to do a diagnostic on the maneuverability thrusters, but you would guess if they're anything like, if it's anything like what you saw of the rest of the ship, it's a fair bet that the ship is fairly maneuverable too.
Okay. I am cranking us up as fast as we can go. I want out. I want off planet.
Okay, so you just shoot upwards. And at the rate that you're going, Olim, you're starting.
Yeah, I don't know how close we are to the wreckage and that plume of smoke. It would have my initial idea was to get up into the smoke and straight out of atmosphere. But if that's not feasible right now, then we are just I want off planet.
Yeah, Olim, looking at the sensors and looking at the state of their weapons, You'd guess that you'll probably break atmosphere before they've finished charging their weapons completely. At the rate that you're currently going.
Okay, I think we'll make it. Can I punch in whatever is needed for the FTL jump?
Okay, right. So we'll come back to your thing now. So you were going to be looking for anything nearby. Yeah, this will be an intellect roll. The difficulty of it will be 4.
Okay. Would you?
My encouragement from before.
I don't know that will come into play here, because right now you're looking for a system or some place nearby to escape to, basically.
Would you call this a knowledge or science roll or task?
Yes.
Okay. Power shifts.
You can also. I'll allow you to use the ship's computers as an asset here, because that's
Nice. Help.
Absolutely. Okay. Great. So I have an asset and 2 power shifts.
Nice.
Thank you, Silver Break Technologies. And so that
Brought to
lowers
you
it
by
from a
Silver.
4 to a 1.
Yep.
And I'm just gonna roll for that.
All right, let's see it.
3 or better.
Oh God.
You know what? No, damn it! I'm gonna spend an effort, and I'm gonna roll anyway to see if
Okay.
Yeah.
see about
Lovely.
So I have an edge, so it costs me only 2 to spend
Sure.
an intellect. Spend for my intellect pool. All right, still rolling. Got a 9, so.
Okay. Regardless, you quickly punch in sort of a general system scan, and as you do so, you're surprised to find that the conduit is actually much closer than you originally thought it was. Having had no concept of it before, the conduit is actually just outside of this solar system.
But okay, wow. All right.
Can we get there in one FTL jump?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely, easily.
Shit. Okay, I shout that out. I'm like, conduit's way closer. We can get there. We can get there.
Coordinates now.
Yeah, I'm punching it in.
Yep. Okay.
Let me shoot this thing before we leave.
Okay. By this point, you've broken atmosphere, and you find yourselves once again looking down at the surface of the planet below. Still that kind of blue-green color with the storm just over the edge of the horizon, still moving away from your current location in orbit. However, with 2 brand new marred areas on it, you can see, even from orbit, you can see these craters blasted by this vessel. And as you make your way up, you finally get a visual on the vessel before you. It is an enormous cruiser. This vessel is easily. Your ship could fit inside of it probably about 20 times over.
Oh my God.
It is huge. Not the size of some battleships that you've seen before, but certainly it's big. You can see as you're getting your visual on it, you're noting that it has all of like the standard array of weapons systems that this weapon would have, that the ship would have, but except at the front, you can see powering up currently that enormous laser as it's powering, and the ship itself is sort of orienting to face in your direction.
Okay, before we jump, Vina's gonna say, "Okay, Mason, you have 10. Make it count," and she's gonna start prepping to jump out of here.
Okay.
And you have 10 seconds if you decide you want to make a shot. Her only instructions are make it count.
I mean, it's just gonna be a mosquito to this thing, but yeah, I want to do it.
All right, looking at this thing, as you're looking, here's what's going to happen. I'm telling you this as a GM, but also Mason would be able to quickly make this assessment based on the tactical readout. It is powering up its weapons. You have the advantage here in that you don't have to do that with this ship. You will get you've got a shot right before it does. If you can, as you're looking at it, you can see as the ship's tactical sensors, all of a sudden you can see as it seems like the target locks in several locations, pointing out several specific points on the vessel without you having touched anything. You didn't touch anything. It's almost as if the readout is anticipating your intentions. You see as the readout locks on several different locations, as you can see shields, weapons, engine. As those things are like popping up, you can see the displays. Of all of those, the weapon systems are by far the easiest to hit.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to go for.
Yep.
It's like VATS.
Yeah, pretty much. This is basically what is happening. Is you're seeing that come up on your display.
Love it.
As the interesting thing is, as you kind of quickly note and file away, as you're sort of getting everything calculated and set in, you'll note that the system's auto target is not on.
Okay.
All
right.
It is not on, so
I'm doing this.
you don't know how this happened, but there it is.
So I'm doing it manually?
Yeah,
aiming it?
yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. I'm going to aim.
All right. So, as you take the shot, the difficulty on this, this is going to be, I'm going to call this a speed roll. The difficulty on this is going to be, hold on, the difficulty is going to be 7.
Holy moly.
Oh my
What
gosh.
can I do for this, guys? This is
Sorry, I might be wrong about that.
Okay. I'm still
Hold
gonna
on.
look at my stuff.
This
though.
is why I
Still
bookmarked
learning.
this
It's
in the
new.
book.
Oh
Just-
my gosh,
I
ship
don't-
combat. Oh gosh.
And what kind of? This is not a small.
I was wrong. I was absolutely wrong.
Uh-oh.
The difficulty is 9.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Oh my
It's
gosh.
higher.
Yeah.
I just want to say real
Oh,
quick, welcome
man.
to. We just got raided by Tabletop Horde with 17 people.
Oh, hey.
Whoa.
Hi,
Thank you
everybody.
so
Thank
much
you
for the
much
raid.
being here.
I have
Wow.
everything turned
Awesome.
off here. Oh my gosh.
Woo.
Well, hello
Goodness me.
everybody.
Hey.
Welcome to Infinite Horizon. Sort of an intense moment that you dropped into here with some ships combat happening and
Yep.
a daring escape from a planet. But
And I'm about to shoot this ship.
Okay.
Fire
Alright.
systems the best I can. Okay.
Difficulty
You can-
9.
You can
That's
do
difficulty 9.
I
Yeah.
know.
it.
Well, I
Okay,
can't say
can
no
my
at this
ins-
point. I can't say I'm just kidding. I'm not gonna do this. Okay.
Can my earlier encouragement be of any use here?
Sorry, I'm just looking real quick, looking at chat. Tabletop Horde says we waited on the advice of Derpanduin. So
Whoa.
Nico, if you're watching on VOD, thank you so much. And Tabletop Horde, thank you so much for the raid. Seriously.
I think Nico's actually here.
Oh,
Yeah.
are you?
sweet.
Oh, okay, great. Well,
Yeah.
hi.
Hey.
Hi. Welcome.
Hello, buddy.
Hello.
Aw.
Okay, sorry. Back to.
I don't even know how to even right now. But
Okay.
okay, so here's
So
the
it's
thing.
difficulty 9
Yeah.
to hit this capital ship's weapon systems.
You have speed power shifts, don't you? This is a speed check, right?
Yeah, on dexterity, right?
Yes, I did.
Yes. So that's gonna help you.
I have 2 in dexterity.
That is gonna help you
Okay.
because this is an aiming thing.
Perfect.
So that's absolutely going to
That
help
was
you.
the first thing I was gonna say. So that brings me. That's
Down to
I-
7, right? Because
okay.
you have 2 shifts.
I have 2 shifts in dexterity.
Okay.
Oh! Encouragement. I am trained in
Yes.
sight visual things, so I can
That's-
help you. I can
so
give
you're-
you an asset.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you
so,
can.
s-
So
so
Ah!
6.
6. Yeah.
Okay. Right off the bat, I'm going to. I don't have an edge in that, but that's okay. There's.
You don't have a speed edge.
I do because I'm
Yeah.
an explorer.
Yeah. So you
Yeah,
can
yeah, yeah.
spend a level of effort if you want.
I'm going to expend level effort.
Brings
Spend
down to
2.
5.
There. Okay. All right.
So we've
This is
officially
really-
reached
this-
doable range.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
I can do the
you
math
guys,
on
I'm
this.
so excited.
This
Such
is
a big roll.
currently you're at
So-
15 or better.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
you're at difficulty
Oh my
5.
God.
That's
And actually, the ship itself is counting as an asset here too. So 'cause you
That's-
got the ship's targeting systems.
good.
So it takes it down to 4.
Okay, that's even more doable.
So you've maxed out your assets at this point.
I have no more assets. I just have to.
Is-
All right.
What's
so
the max assets? Is it 2?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I'm down to 4 right now for this.
That's doable.
difficulty 4.
12 or
Okay.
better.
Doable.
so
that's
12 or
doable.
better.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
12 or better.
I'm gonna remember my training.
You could do it.
I didn't do a
I
whole
believe
lot
in
of
you.
training in ship combat in this, but
Okay.
You got it. You got it.
Mason takes a deep breath, checks his hat.
And remember, you also have XP, so you can reroll.
Yeah. And on the exhale, he's gonna push a button or whatever.
Yeah. Oh God, what is
Take
it?
it. Take one of my.
Five?
Take one of my XPs. No, you take one of my
All right,
XPs.
Caitlin's
You're
giving
fired.
you an
You're
XP to
getting.
reroll.
You're
Oh, but I
getting
have
it.
XP too, but I'll take.
No,
Sure.
you do it. You're taking mine. Do
Okay.
it. Go it.
Okay. No, you're kidding me. 8.
No.
Oh no.
Oh no.
All right. You can spend again if you want.
Oh, I can.
Yes.
It's your call.
I'm gonna do it.
All right.
Come
I'm
on.
doing it. I took a deep breath and everything. That means
Yeah, come on.
something. Oh, 11.
Oh no. Okay. Well, at this point,
It went up by increments of 3 each roll.
Yep. Well, you take your shot and you fire, and as you do, it's a perfect dead-on shot that is absorbed by the ship's shields. As in that same moment, an instant later, the cruiser fires on you.
Ina jumps.
Bina, this is gonna be another piloting check right now.
Oh fuck. No. All right, let's do it.
All
Hit
right.
me.
So, this is going to be a. Actually, okay. So this is one thing that you know right now. You can tell that they are currently targeting your ship's engines.
Okay. Don't like that.
The difficulty
that
of
at all.
this is going to be. It's going to be a difficulty 3.
Okay. Okay, let me pull up my sheet. Piloting.
Mm-hmm.
Is this helping with visual acuity in any way to like navigate and or perform evasive maneuvers to keep
No,
us
because I think
aligned?
what you're doing right now is you're trying to jump before they can hit you.
Excellent.
So it's
Okay.
less about that than it is about just. Because yeah, this is gonna be a speed roll. I didn't think I said that yet.
Oh, okay, speed roll.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Okay. Is the ship giving me an asset?
Yes.
2. Okay. That's all right. That's good. That's excellent. I'm so nervous from those 3 natural ones, you guys. I'm like scarred for life.
It could never happen again. You've used them all up. Come on.
All right.
Oh man.
What are you doing, Caitlin?
You know what? I have the speed to get us out of here. I'm gonna spend effort and just go.
Okay. So, I am gonna offer you
Roll
another GM
just-
intrusion.
Did she get XP for the earlier GM intrusion?
Yeah, I didn't say it, but you did. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, anytime you accept a GM intrusion, you get XP.
Cool.
Oh man. Oh goodness.
Oh, you guys, this is so stressful. I don't want to get got.
I mean,
This is true.
bear in mind, like, you have succeeded. Like, you've succeeded.
Okay.
I'm
I
just
see, okay.
offering you a GM intrusion. It's not gonna take away from your success.
Okay. I'll take it.
Okay? Alright. So, by a razor's margin.
You know I will always say yes. This is targeting.
All right.
I'm being targeted.
It's okay. By the rules of Cypher, I cannot offer you another one this whole session. So,
Oh, really? Aw,
well,
that's fine.
it's discouraged that I do. Let's
That's
put it
fine.
that way.
It's okay. I deserve it. I deserve for my reckless just chaos. Do it.
Yeah.
Pick me.
So, it is a razor's margin as you get the coordinates from Olim, and just immediately you punch it at the exact instant that the blast from their laser cannon hits the ship.
Oh.
At the exact same moment as you jump. The jump takes effect and you are gone. You are away, but you can see amongst the consoles, you can see as sparks just sort of playing across them, and as various warnings and alarms are blaring around you in the cockpit. You've sustained some damage.
Okay.
That much is clear. How much, you don't know yet, because right now you're still focused on just getting out.
Yeah.
But the ship has
One of
sustained.
my arms is pulling up diagnostics. I want to know how boned we are and if I need to drop FTL.
Yeah.
I don't want us to explode mid-jump.
You managed to jump right. It's not a very long distance. It's right outside this system as you jump just in front of the conduit. As Olim, you already have the. Actually, here's a good question. Where are you going from here?
Where do we want to go? Do we want to go home? Do we want to jump to another conduit? Just to fucking scramble? Just to
I would,
find
like-
conduit and go.
Yeah, I guess this isn't stuff I could have like pre-punched in, right? We get to the conduit and then we use it for the slingshot.
You can
thing.
have most of the stuff done, and then you just have to connect with the conduit, and then just
I think I would honestly, like, my quickest instinct would be the Anzalon system, like
Okay.
where is home to me.
Okay.
Ooh, is that a terrible idea?
I am guessing my proposition is no home, just a conduit that isn't here.
I will
just
remind
wanna
you that
jump
you
and get out
do
of
already
here.
have some coordinates.
We do. Shit. Let's go to that system.
Oh gosh, yes.
That
The mis-
transcript.
The mysterious message that you
Oh,
received
that's right.
on the.
I forgot. But that's in this uncharted region, right?
No, it's not.
No, it's
It's
not.
in a
Okay.
yeah. It was in a different. Is there a conduit where it is? I think we asked about this earlier. I
I don't
remember
know that
for-
you actually looked into it at all.
Okay.
Ooh.
I pull up the coordinates. Then I want to see if it. Because I'm sure that like if you can pull up a region of space, there's gonna be like a little ping. Like yes, this place is a conduit. This is like
Yeah.
an acceptable end location.
Absolutely. So there is. Well, you pull it up, and there is a conduit in that region of space. The nearest habitable, inhabited area to that, it pops up, and it is a location called Sulan.
Okay.
And as soon as that pops up on the display, I would say definitely Olim would know that would know this. As you're looking at it, you know that Sulan is the very first place that humans inhabited and settled when they first entered this galaxy about 1300 or so years ago. It is a hollowed out asteroid within which there is a relatively large city.
Wow, and those are the closest to the coordinates, but not exactly on the coordinates?
Yeah, it's a short jump from the conduit. On the other side, it is something that you would know. It is not under the auspices of any of the large governments.
Even better.
Okay, as I'm looking at this, I think maybe Bina and I are having a brief back and forth. I'm like, oh, no, Anzalon, no, that's
no,
stupid.
not home. Not home.
Okay.
As you're
I just
as
wanna-
you're doing
I wanna
this,
scram.
the sensors are beep a warning saying that there is an approaching vessel to where the conduit
I'm
is.
locked in and we're going.
Okay.
I feel like what happens is we're arguing and like the last thing we are currently talking about is going to the system where these coordinates are. I get this beep and I'm like, all right, that's it, and then I just lock it in.
And our
we-
ship is
yeah.
already damaged, right? We don't even have time to see what
No.
that is.
No,
about.
not right now.
Okay, let's
So
go.
you watch as the
I
conduit.
did pull up diagnostics to make sure we weren't going to like eat shit mid.
Right.
Like I just want to know like yeah.
Yeah, the ship is. I'll say just at a glance, the ship has sustained some significant damage, but nothing that's going to like put you out of commission for the time being.
It will handle
Definite-
this slingshot. Okay.
Definitely something that you will want to take care of sooner rather than
Yes.
later, but nothing that's
Yes.
going to stop you.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah. No. As soon as I get that ping, I'm like, we're locked in. That's it. We've no more discussion. Go.
yeah, you watch as the conduit, this sort of oblong shape, this oblong ring in space, just starts activating as you watch as you watch the surge of energy just spark around the edges and in the interior of the conduit as it roars to life, and your ship just gets pulled through it and shot
As
into
it-
space.
As it's lighting up, everyone in the immediate vicinity feels just utter delight.
Yeah. You can feel that just sort of radiating off of Bina. And with that, you have escaped the system.
I think Vina's just cackling too. Like this is
Yeah.
just.
Oh, okay.
Sorry about that. I don't usually miss, but this is the first time I've shot cannons from a ship.
It was a big ship. It was a very big ship,
Yeah.
and you did great.
I did what I could.
How's Peach? Can I get a read on her while I'm?
Yeah.
She's like behind me and like a
You just kind of glance over at her. She's still unconscious. Yeah.
Okay.
Uh,
Like, am I getting like night terror readings? Is she just?
Nope.
Totally just okay.
Just neutral sleep. So you are currently in your jump. It takes maybe about a minute, and or maybe it's probably closer to about 3 or 4 minutes and suddenly you receive the warning on the console that you're going to be exiting the conduit. And as that happens, you see as when you jump through the conduit, basically everything around you just turns into streaks. Like you are, it's just star lines. As you are coming down too, you can see those star lines suddenly warp in front of you as they do when you are entering or exiting the conduits, and you are suddenly once again in real space. Behind you in your rear view screen, you can see as the conduit behind you has started powering down.
Question, would do conduits keep like do they have like records of jumps, or is that like part of the insides that no one gets to mess with?
Um, there are ways to do it. They're very difficult, and as of yet, that's still pretty experimental.
Okay. So like a random capital ship is not gonna probably have the means to check out where we just jumped
Probably
in the immediate
Probably
like,
not. But
next,
here's
okay.
the other thing, and these are I think are all thoughts that are occurring to Bina in the moment.
They are experimental tech. That is like their
I was
whole
gonna say it's a
thing.
capital. Yeah.
It's if anybody has that tech, it's going to be one of the corps.
Yeah. But for all they know, by the time they figure it out, we could be long gone.
Yeah.
So they just
It's
know we jumped
incredibly
here.
unlikely that they have that tech on board the vessel.
Okay.
But if anybody has access to it, it's probably going to be them.
The CEO of Silver Break.
Yeah.
Jesus.
So, as you are now once again in real space, just outside of the conduit, you all sort of, for the first time since waking up from the stasis, you are all more or less relaxed. Which, of course, is the prime opportunity for you to realize exactly how exhausted all of you are.
Hey, you guys, I'm real low on a lot of stats.
Can we now plot another FTL jump to Sulon from here?
Yes.
That'll take longer than that 1 minute, presumably.
Yeah, it'll take longer because you'll be just jumping through regular FTL. But
okay.
Yeah.
As I say that, let's one more jump, and hopefully it'll be long enough to take a rest.
I take a minute before we do anything. I get out of the conduit. I just move away a little bit. I want to run like a better diagnostic where I can actually look at things to make sure that this is going to be okay on the ship.
Yeah.
One more jump.
Is there is there a spaceship equivalent of like ditching the license plate?
There are ways to scrub registries. They are extremely illegal, but you can do it.
Maybe not draw any more attention, but it's an idea. Like I think I've tried this before.
You yourself wouldn't be able to do it. You'd have to go to a specialist.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's good to know.
Yeah.
Do I know anything about that on a smaller scale?
I feel like Bino would be acquainted with the theory.
Yeah, okay.
But
there's no way she would have done it because that's like altering shit, but like she'd at least be like,
yeah.
Okay.
That process is exactly the part of ship operations that Bina is not good at, which is the computer side of it. That's on the
hardware,
computer
not software.
Yeah. But you quickly go over your diagnostics. It looks like the damage is mostly superficial. What I will say is that it looks like your FTL drives are running at a much lowered efficiency right now.
Okay.
But there were no hull breaches, and everything was
Good.
Most of the damage, the worst of it, was surface level. So just on the outside of the ship, on the ship's plating.
A little Bondo, and we'll be good to go.
I need a place I can touch down to work on this.
Okay.
I will jump to the what was the system or planet called?
Sulon. It is basically a free-floating asteroid just sort of off on its own in the middle of space.
Awesome.
Wow. I get somebody to help somebody free and make sure to move Peach to like a cot or something more comfortable. Like
Sure.
I'm picturing her like this.
Yeah. The
I
whole
don't
like.
think she's sad lying in a seat.
Like-
Get her someplace to lie down.
Yeah.
We have there are quarters on ship, so we'll
Yeah,
have
yeah.
some
Make
There-
sure
people
she's
bring
safe.
her in there.
I
yeah.
will say that
Comfortable.
with a little bit of exploration, it wouldn't take you long to find what looks like a, as of yet, unstocked medical bay. It's a very small, yeah. It's unstocked, like there's no supplies in it or anything like that, but it is clearly a medical facility.
She
Right.
will be safe and okay there until we can. Yeah.
I get used to this shit.
It's a small room. Sort of the way I imagine it is kind of like on in Firefly, right? The medical bay on the Serenity. It's about that size. It's not by any means just like this huge medical facility or anything like that. It's relatively small. Best for treating 1 to 3 patients at a time. But yeah.
Are all of our survivors okay? Like, did I give anyone a concussion back there? Like, someone's got whiplash.
You know, it's possible that they would have gotten away from it with minor scrapes and bruises, but it's impossible to tell because they already had those. So
That's fair.
it's unclear
new ones.
whether these are new ones or the existing ones. As you're sort of going around looking, for the most part, everybody looks like they got strapped in time before things got wild.
God, there are kids back there. I'm so sorry, everyone.
It saved us.
Yeah, as you're doing
Is
sort of
there,
a
like, an
walkthrough.
intercom for like a shipwide like.
You're doing sort of a
over, like-
walkthrough of the hold where everybody currently is, and Decker is just Lieutenant Decker is just sort of off in the corner, away from people. He looks up and talks to somebody if they approach him, but mostly he's just sort of by himself. But as you're walking through,
He's had some revelations today.
yeah, he's had a day. As you're, I don't think this is really what he would have expected when it comes to termination by the company from the company he works for.
Oh God.
But as you're walking through, Bina, kind of making your way to the engine room to see if there's any additional damages there, the Anzalonian woman, Coleman, she looks up at you and she says, "Well, that was maybe the most amazing and terrifying flying I've ever experienced."
Same. Yeah. I had to think about it for a second. Yes. Not ideal, but new system.
Well, if anybody had to find us and get us off that planet, I'm glad it was you, because I'm not sure how many other people would have been able to make those turns you did.
I'm glad we found you. Though. How long have you been there?
Oh, just in the we were holed up in the storage room for maybe 3 days by that point, but we'd been holed up in other parts of the colony for longer.
When did you arrive on the colony? How old is it?
I was one of the first people to touch down. Maybe about 6 months ago.
That sucks.
Yeah, not great for my first colonial posting.
Yeah.
Truth be told, I didn't even really want the job. It was just, I sort of had to take it. Let's just say family debts to the corporation.
Okay. So little to no choice. Ending up on that planet. We have a few things in common. How about some of the other people? Is everyone indebted or?
No, some are, but most are just employees of the corporation. Actually, quite a few were just civilians who came along with the promise of new areas to settle.
Full autonomy on ending up?
I mean, for the most part, as much as you
Okay.
can under the auspices of any of the corps, so.
Okay. All right. Yeah, you heard the voicemail we got?
Yeah.
I'm very sorry. That must be jarring and not fun.
She kind of glances over to where Decker is. She says, "Honestly, it doesn't really surprise me. I knew whatever
Okay.
they were working on there that caused the warped was probably something that they wouldn't want anybody to know about. So, to be honest, I'm not surprised at all. Decker, on the other hand, I don't know. He really believed in the mission that we were all told we were fulfilling.
Poor guy.
Exploring new areas of space, trying to make everything better for people.
You're private first class.
Yes,
on
that's
station.
correct.
What do you do? What was your...
My job, I'm actually the quartermaster. I didn't have a whole lot of military responsibilities. Mostly I was just in charge of supplying.
Is anyone aboard right now? Know things about what was going on? Because at this point, I don't think any of you are contractually bound, because according to them, you're probably all dead. So...
Yeah. I know. She kind of glances around and points to a Sokoru woman, a member of the avian species that you would know as being members of the Commonwealth. She says, Skrissa over there worked as a administrative assistant in the research facility. I honestly don't know her that well myself, and I have no idea what her responsibilities were, but she might have a better idea of what was going on in there.
Were you at all expecting a big capital ship full of individuals to be showing up on planet
Not
by any chance?
Not that one, and not this soon. I mean,
Not that one.
No. We... Standard procedure in the event of a colony-wide emergency is that a distress beacon gets sent out over the long-range transmitter, and eventually corporate support arrives to alleviate whatever the situation is. Sometimes
I don't mean evac. I mean new colonists, new individuals being brought planetside. Is that anything you were expecting?
No, not at least. We weren't due for another shipment of colonists until, for at least 6 months.
What the fuck? How did we get there? Okay. Okay. Okay.
I'm sorry. I hope you don't mind, but I've never seen Decker look like this, and he's had a lot on his plate for the last week or so, and especially now. I think I'm gonna go make sure he's okay.
Okay.
Let me know if I can do anything to help.
Excellent. I will. For now, just make sure everyone's okay. I can feel a lot going on right now, and we're gonna try to tone it down a little bit, because it's hard to focus. Okay. And she's just gonna turn around and walk away.
Yeah. She, was about to say more, but then you just sort of walked away. She's
Yep.
Okay. And then turns away and goes back to Decker.
I want to talk to Skrissa.
I
want to talk to Skrissa.
Okay. You actually find her with a Skoru child that she's currently talking to.
She's also Skoru?
Huh?
Is she also Skoru?
Yes.
Okay.
And judging by the resemblance in their plumage, they are probably related.
Okay.
As she's having a conversation with the small boy, she glances up at you and says, "Oh, you are the pilot?"
Unfortunately.
Not
Sorry
for
about
us,
that.
I don't think. Thank you
No,
so
but
much.
and she'll put out her arm, shake.
Yeah, and she takes your hand and... can I help with something?
Maybe. You were involved in the science things?
Oh, I was an
Maybe?
administrative assistant in the research facility.
So you had you were overseeing stuff, or...
I mostly just managed some of the filing.
Were you expecting a capital ship of new individuals on the colony at any point?
Not for at least another 6 months. That we were due to get another group of colonists arriving. In fact, that's what we were working on prior to the appearance of the warped, is getting some of the additional prefab buildings set up for them, for habitation.
Okay. I'm just so confused. I'm going to be honest with you.
She just says, I mean, I can understand that. I'm not entirely sure of anything that happened myself. It all happened very quickly.
I'm glad we got you off. We'll probably have lots of questions at some point that might need answering. And I'm not very good at asking them, so I'm going to go work on the engine.
If you don't mind my asking, where exactly are we going now that we are off planet?
Well, the point was to jump and jump again, to be away from the big lasers, and we'll work that out, hopefully, soon, and we can hopefully take you all to where you'd like to go. But currently, ship needs some repairs, and I think we need to lay low for a little bit. I don't know how long they're going to be after us, or if they even know how many of you are here, or if they even know how many of us are here, or where we are. There are a lot of unknowns.
Right.
But we'll work on it. We'll brainstorm as a crew, as the totality of all of us. We'll figure it out. But for now, the answer is I don't know.
She nods and says, well, regardless, you've gotten us this far safely, so wherever you take us, I think I for one am at least grateful, regardless of where the destination is.
We'll get somewhere in the end. We'll be fine.
She smiles and kind of, as she's saying that, she sort of puts her arm around the little boy and she says, do let me know if there's anything I can do to help. I'm not sure how useful I will be on a ship like this, but I'll also let you know if I think of anything else that I remember from.
Very useful, yes. We might try to piece more together of what was happening on the colony and why we ended up there. So if you know anyone who knows anything about anything, we'll probably talk to them at some point.
Yes, I will see who knows anything. We've been together for a few days now, but most of that time was trying to survive, so I'm not sure that, well, I don't know if anybody knows anything more than I do, so if you want, I can ask around.
Yes. Yes, that would be good.
All right. You can see that you can feel relief. It seems like having something to do, like a concrete task, is giving her a little bit of the ability to just sort of push past her current anxiety.
Bina's not great at people, conversationally, so she's just like, I don't know how to help this person. So the relief, I think, makes her feel relieved.
It's just
and
a
that probably
feedback loop
reflects,
of.
Yeah, so it's like, so she's like, oh, okay. And Bina's feeling calm at this point. She doesn't she doesn't have answers, but she's not an immediate threat, which she's just like, all right, we can baseline this. So maybe at some point she, as like walking through through all of these people, maybe she can give a little bit of a residual feeling of calm as she's moving through. Probably not intentionally, but
Right.
maybe she can give some people some peace of mind while she goes to work on
I think
engine
at this
stuff.
point, Bina might be slowly becoming aware that you may not be aware of how you're affecting the people around you.
Mm-hmm.
By this point, it's more just that you are aware that there's normally you feel the influx of emotion from people around you, but right now you're slowly becoming aware, and you have been over the course of this day, slowly becoming aware that there's also now sort of a push that you've never felt before.
I bet like every once in a while she gets like a reverb. Like normally she's like feeling everyone, and like when she has like her emotion normally just goes out and she gets no feedback. But I bet every once in a while she feels like a reverb of her like own emotion coming back at her. So she's like, oh, so that's probably okay.
Yeah.
I think that's probably where she's at.
Okay. Real quick, I'm gonna say, Olam, what are you doing at the moment?
Oh, please don't make Bina talk anymore. She's so bad at it.
I probably, as soon as we're in warp or in FTL, probably in the cockpit, I just would turn to Mason and be like, so I guess, I guess we can't go back home for a while, right? Well, I can't, I don't know what home is for you. I mean, Silver Break is doing all this stuff. They're operating in the Commonwealth, who knows what kind of power they have even in there, under everybody's nose. If we go back there, we'll be in danger. We'll be in danger wherever. Sorry.
You're good.
It's a lot to think about, isn't it?
Follow me.
Okay, I do so.
All right, where are you going?
I'm gonna go to like a just like a seating area, just like the lounge area of the ship, basically.
The one that you have seen so far is the one just in between the two bunk rooms. That's sort of like a common area that's just down the hall from the cockpit. That's the only one that you've seen at this point, as you have as of yet not really had a whole lot of chance to explore the ship itself. So that's the one that you would know about.
Let's just go in here and just like take a moment. I go to see if my flask is on me.
Yeah, you still have that.
I'm gonna pull my flask out and hand it to you.
Okay. I hand it back.
Take the edge off.
Okay, it's all right.
Where are you from?
What? Oh, Anzalon 3. Where are you from?
Sorry. Krenai.
Olam, you would know just from your own studies that Krenai is actually an ascendancy world.
Oh gosh, that's Keldro and stuff, right? Or who are kind of Cold War-ish enemies with the Commonwealth at this point?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, there's like technically for about 500 years or so, there's been a ceasefire. No official peace treaty or anything like that. It's mostly been a ceasefire for about 500 years.
But they are not on friendly terms.
Not really, no.
Well, do people travel freely between Commonwealth and Ascendancy?
It's a little harder than traveling within, but you can do it.
Okay. Oh, well, I heard it's nice. Never been out that way myself.
Yeah, it's definitely changed. I need to to be honest with you, I'm glad that I got a chance to get out of there for a bit. Maybe under different circumstances, though. Would have been better.
Oh yeah, no, these circumstances are pretty bad. I almost anything would, well, don't, careful what you wish for. So here we are. We got a ship full of Silverbreak employees, civilians, kids. You see that? There's kids out there.
Yeah.
Going to Have you been to Sulon? What do you know about this place?
Have I been?
I don't know that you would have had cause to go.
Never been.
Me neither. I don't know. Okay, so out of character real quick, the message we got was on the Silverbreak capital ship, right?
Yeah,
it was
the one that you awoke
encoded.
on.
Yeah, and it help me out here,
Sure.
everybody. And it was the kind of thing that like seemed to be addressed to us, like not like to Silverbreak employees. It seemed like kind of a goes off dead man switch type thing.
Yeah. Go ahead, Caitlin.
I was gonna say my theories were that it was meant for someone who was supposed to be on the ship, and was responsible for whatever the fuck was going on, and they had like a contact. Or it was meant for anyone who survived what the fuck happened to the ship while we were on it. Those are my two thoughts, but I don't know for sure. I don't know if it was specifically us. There's a chance it was, but like, I don't know. My thought was like, it's just whoever survives this. If you want to know what's going on, come to me. Like, so I'm not sure though. That was my
but in any case, it did not seem like a normal piece of Silverbreak crew communication or propaganda or anything like that. Okay, so I say like, whatever this message was, the fact that we were on a Silverbreak ship when we got it, and we're traveling to these coordinates has me a little bit concerned as to the level of safety we'll find there. If you know what I mean.
I do. But we need to get answers somehow.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess you're right.
There's a lot of questions I have.
Yeah, me too.
Like, I take another swig. These things that happened to me, and you as well. Those are questions I have that need answering.
Yeah, at this point, sort of unbidden into your mind, Olam, the memory of one of the first moments after awakening on that vessel. The memories flashing of trying to escape through a maintenance hatch that's sealed, and watching it as you felt a surge of connection between you and it, and watched as it just crumpled in on itself. Just sort of, as Mason's speaking, that memory just flashes through your mind.
Oh yeah, that too. Oh, I almost forgot about that whole part of this thing. Whew. Well, I guess while we're traveling, I'm gonna go get some sleep. Let's see if everybody's okay. I don't know what I could do if they're not, but
Yeah,
sorry, rambling a little bit.
It's all right. Do it. Do your thing. I'm gonna keep poking around here in a little bit, and I'll probably also try to rest a little bit.
Okay.
Based on
See ya.
what you saw, you probably have about a day or so.
Oh wow.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, a day or so
Nice.
in FTL before you reach Sulan.
So definitely time for rest and time for more conversations.
Yeah. Yep.
Time for eating whatever weird space food is in here.
So, do the two of you sort of make for rest, or do you head elsewhere?
I rest. I'm tired.
Okay. So Olam,
Think,
you start sort of poking around the area. You kind of find the bunks, much like Peach did earlier. You see that in total, there's probably about 8 bunks in these corridors, 4 on each side.
Gosh, and do we have like 20 or 30 something survivors crammed in here right now? Yikes.
Yeah,
Okay.
it seems like this vessel, as much as it is able to hold this many people, was never intended to house this many people.
All right.
But you find yourself a bunk and just sort of settle into it. Caitlin, you were going to say something?
I was just gonna say, I think after Bina's very stilted and not fruitful conversations with everyone, she sends another terrible message to the group chat that's just kind of like bullet notes of what she learned and the things she hasn't learned specifically. I don't know why this. I don't know why that. Like but then a few things that she did screws up, and then she'll describe and then who she was. Like she'll give like basically a rundown in our little like group communications tab, just to try to be helpful, even if she isn't always very concise.
If I may, I want to be like with my head on the pillow and my wrist right next to my face, and it like beeps and wakes me up when I'm almost asleep, and I see this like semi-coherent stream of consciousness on it, and like mute it and then try to go back to sleep.
Yeah.
All right.
I think Mason finds a chair to, or somewhere to sit that's somewhat private, if not like completely. I know we're packed in this ship.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of pull out his notepad, put the flask over by somewhere that's upright, and then just kind of look over his notes and just kind of start thinking. Check the little message board there, and kind of just start thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Start just, I don't know.
Okay. So
His resting is going to be this until he passes out.
So, then, as this point, as Bina is currently in the engine room, just making sure, double checking that everything is still okay in here, Olam is currently drifting off after an exhausting day. Mason in the cockpit, just making notes, intermittently taking swigs from the flask and continuing to take notes. Peach unconscious in the medical facility. That is where we're going to take our break.
Oh, man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So we are going to take a break. We will be back in about 10 minutes or so. So get up, move around, hydrate, get some food, some snacks, and we'll be back shortly. So don't go anywhere. We will be right back.
See you soon.
And we are back. Hello. We have returned from our break. So welcome back, everybody. I hope you got a chance to wander around, shake your limbs. I don't know.
All 6
Where are you
limbs.
going?
Drink water,
Definitely.
breathe oxygen. I don't know. You know all that stuff that you need to do to live. Well, when we, sorry, I'm at that in between stage where I can still see chat, and I appreciate that jolly old up Nicholas has Cheerios.
Nice.
So, yeah, I'm happy for you.
Break what you used.
Cheerios are objectively the best stream watching food. I don't know that for
You've
sure.
done it. You've nailed it. We can all retire now.
Yeah.
That's it.
All right.
Cut the stream. We're done.
When we left off, the group had just barely managed to evade capture and
Barely.
destruction by a capital ship from Silverbreak Technologies. Not just any capital ship, however. It is a capital ship containing the CEO of Silverbreak Technology, Damian
Yeah.
Ellis.
Go home.
Having narrowly escaped it with a few expert piloting checks by our very own Bina Oba, the group escaped through a conduit and endeavoring to reach the coordinates that they were given by the mysterious message that they had found on the capital ship that they had awoken on. And so, when we left off, everybody was in varying stages of coming down from the adrenaline and panic rush that was the earlier part of this day. Which is a thing that was occurring to me, that everything that has happened so far has happened in the course of a single day.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
Like,
probably
in fact,
not
just a
even
couple of
that.
hours, a matter of hours is what happened. So,
I just woke up from cryo sleep, but it's been a long few hours. I gotta go back to bed.
yeah. At this point, like, you're all feeling the fatigue of the high anxiety and the running and physical activity of the day, which there's been a lot, more than in an average person's day, I would say. You've had a bit of a roller coaster of a morning.
Well, also almost literally as well.
Yeah, especially for those who were not in the cockpit and couldn't see the violent turns coming. So, all right. So, that said, at the moment, you all have about a day before you arrive at your destination. So, what are some things that you all want to be doing? I know
Engine maintenance.
Olam is taking a nap.
Engine maintenance.
I will probably have passed out too
Yeah.
after a certain point of going over.
You can tell me if this is accurate or not, but I
Okay.
sort of pictured, because you said looking for a chair in a unoccupied place, and currently the only place that fits that description is the cockpit.
Please stay in the cockpit till I get back.
I like it.
Please have someone in there.
I like it. That works. That works for me.
Yeah. So Mason's just sort of at one of the seats.
Officially claim that tactical station for yourself. Is that your zone?
Got it.
Yeah. Yeah. Just sort of taking notes, and eventually notepad on his chest, hat down. just sort of
Exactly. You got it.
Yes.
falls asleep
Yes.
in that seat. So we'll go ahead and say we'll start with Bina, who you're kind of down in the engine room right now.
Yes.
You're currently running diagnostics as
She's a little mad about the diagnostics. She's a little irritated preemptively because last time they weren't showing her that things were wrong when something was clearly wrong. So she's probably going to do with the diagnostic tools, but she's also probably going to do a fine-tooth visual diagnostic
Sure.
as well. So looking for burnt out fuses, anything that she could maybe see with her eyes after she does the tech diagnostic.
Yeah, I mean, you can definitely see where there are some parts that have burned out in the surge that was caused by the impact.
Yeah.
So those are the things that are very obvious to Bina just at a glance. Currently, you're sitting there replacing one of them as you have a diagnostic going. The young boy,
Two hands. We're good.
the young human boy Jade is currently sitting on a toolbox with one leg kind of up under his knee, kind of just up to his chest, as he's just sort of sitting there watching you. Every once in a while, handing you a tool as you request it, and he's looking and he says, "So, you were a mechanic on a station?
Were you?
No, I mean, I was my dad was a mechanic. That I learned everything I know from him.
Very useful. Were you his assistant?
Sometimes when he needed me to. Well, at least until Mom and I got decided to go to the colony.
Why?
Mom said that she got a really good job with one of the corps, and that it was gonna help out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that it didn't really go well.
No. Mm-mm. But you're here now. You can be my mechanic assistant.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She'll hold one. She's got 3 arms working. She'll hold one out for a fist bump.
Yeah, he'll return it and just and he's just sort of sitting there. He says, "So, while you were flying around, I was poking around the engine room a little bit, trying to see
she shoots him a glare at that, but
He
like,
doesn't
lets
even
him
notice.
Continue. Yeah.
He doesn't notice. He's currently in the process of like looking around the engine room. He sees
Wary of that statement,
Yeah,
but we'll let him continue.
I was kind of poking around and just trying to see if I could find anything maybe that we missed the first time for that power shutdown. And I still didn't find anything. But I did see over here, and he kind of points past the engine, kind of on the opposite side of the engine room from where you currently are. He says, I did see over in that corner, there are way more power cells than are absolutely necessary for a ship like of this size.
She slides herself like under the engine, like to the other side,
Yeah.
and wants to go look.
Yeah, he like doesn't even notice for a second. He looks and you can hear the sound of him getting up and following you around, walking around the engine to the other side. Sorry, my camera just went out of focus. There we go. He follows to the other side. He says, yeah, you see here, there's a whole bunch of power banks, and from what I can tell, these 5 aren't routed into anything in here, which is weird. I can't figure out what they're routed into. They're there, and they're active. They're connected into something. I can't figure out what they're for, though.
Okay. Huh. Okay. 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 She's gonna like go up to them and kind of like where they're are they connected via like wire, or are they like connected in like they're fully attached
They're
themselves
attached
physically?
into the side, like in sort of like a housing.
Okay.
In order to get to them, you would normally have to remove one of the panels on the bulkhead.
I will do so.
Yeah, well, actually, right now it's already there.
Oh,
He had
okay.
apparently left it like
Okay.
open when he was looking at it.
Always close your cabinetry, man.
Says,
First rule of
yeah, I always
a
forget to
clean
do
engine
that.
room.
I was just right around the time when I was looking at it, I sort of got violently thrown over there, and
you know what? That's a fair point.
Yeah.
That's probably my fault. Okay. She's gonna. I want to take a peek. What do I see?
yeah, I mean, right now you can see the usual array of power couplings, basically, that are in there. That pretty much, they're essentially storage, like power storage. So the ship, as it's going, will generate as the engine is running, will generate power. Most of which gets sent off to the various ship systems, but portions of it are sent into these power couplings to basically hold it.
So
As
they're
essentially like
backup?
batteries almost.
They're just backup.
No, these are essentially a reserve that fills up, and then basically it's where the power goes to and then gets sent off to the rest of the ship.
Oh, okay.
So like in the initial ignition of the vessel, the power comes directly from the engine as it's generated, and then gradually those get filled up, and then the power relay switches to those. Once the ship is sequenced, it gets put through those. So essentially they're essentially eventually, yes, like that is where the reserve power would go, so that essentially it's a safeguard against full power shutdowns if anything ever happens to the engine. Like if the engine shuts down, there's
will
a
kick
buffer.
in? Okay, I see.
Yeah.
And there are some that aren't connected to anything.
Yeah, it doesn't appear that they're routed into the engine directly. I mean, there's the connection in. There's the connection in, right? For for like filling the power. But there's not. They don't seem to be connected to any of the ship's systems as far as you can tell from just sort of glancing at them.
Do they have any sort of like panel attached to this area, or are they just like pieces that are just kind of in there? Like I want to, like, if I were to pull up some sort of interface to see if I can find any connection to these guys that we're just not seeing visually? Or...
Right. No, you would definitely have like the engineering display available to you that you can pull over. As you do, you just kind of looking through, trying to find any sort of technical readout. He says, "Yeah, I did that too. And here's what's really interesting." And he kind of reaches over your shoulder and points to the schematics. He says, "Look, they're not even on here." Yeah, that's what I thought too.
Huh.
He points to see. There's that one, and that one, the auxiliary coupling, and then just nothing. They're just not there.
Huh. Is there like a log? Like, some, this might just be a Caitlin experience, but I have like a notebook in my car with every maintenance and like anything I've ever bought for my car, like for the past, before I bought it, our previous owner had it, like it's for the past 15 years of every time anything was ever done to this car. Is there like a tech version of that? Can I like scroll through it and try to find out when these were even brought aboard if they're not part of the original schematics?
You go looking for them, and the conclusion that you come to is if such a thing exists, it probably wasn't on the ship, on this ship.
Okay.
If there is a log of that kind, it's not in this ship's data banks.
Wild. Okay. And I can't visually see anywhere where this is connected outside of being...
No, because basically, like, the engine room is sort of the main power hub for the entire ship, and basically these connect here, and the power is routed to wherever it needs to go in the ship. Different ones of these are sort of routed to different sections of the ship or to different systems. And you can see all of the systems on the ship. They are all accounted for, and you can, like, literally, like, they are labeled.
Yeah.
Except for these extra ones. They're just there.
Huh.
He's looking at it. He says, "Where did you say you got this ship again?"
Hand me down?
Hmm?
Hand me down?
He says, "'Cause wherever it came from, I get the impression just from like a few." He says it's not the only things that are weird like that. I mean, I've managed to figure out what some of the other stuff that's unlabeled does, but it says this looks like a ship that wasn't intended for. I don't know. If I had to guess, I wouldn't say it was intended for purchase. It was intended for use by somebody who already understood it.
Huh. You want to do me a favor?
Sure.
You spent some time looking around. Do you want to make a log?
Sure.
Of everything you found?
Yeah. I've done that a few times. I can do that.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Try to put together your own schematic Jade's user manual of the engine room.
Okay. He kind of glances around and says, "Oh, right here." And he grabs like a little data pad from the engineering closet basically, and pulls it out and just okay.
Let me know if you find anything else that seems weird.
Yeah. Okay. He says, like I said, I only noticed it because like power systems are one of the things that my dad used to make me work on, but I'm not really that familiar with ship operations, so.
No better time to learn than the present.
Okay. He looks
We'll learn
around.
together. We're all new here. Learn on the job.
All
It'll
right.
be fun.
And he just sort of Jade just sort of scuttles off to the back of the engine room and just starts making notes. Every once in a while.
Do I feel like by chance a familiar sense of maybe joy and interest at learning about a new ship that Bina normally has? Is he in the same page, or is he just kind of like, okay?
No, I mean, mostly what you feel. I mean, there's a little bit of that, but mostly what you feel is just like a sense of pride at being able to help in some way.
Oh,
Like,
I love him.
Basically, like the fact that you're actually it seems like the fact that you're actually like telling him to do seemingly important stuff. He's like,
it is important.
Yeah.
Oh, he's my number 2 in the engine room.
Yeah.
I love him.
So as you
Okay.
go back to your diagnostics and sort of replacing parts, you can hear him every once in a while punctuate the silence with just an exclamation of like, "Whoa! I've never seen one that nice!" And like,
Gross. We're on the same. We've got not quite the same. I don't know if anyone is quite as rowdy about engine stuff as Bina is, but like kindred spirits, she can feel it. She's excited to have him in the engine room with her.
yeah.
Intriguing.
Yeah.
Huh.
So you managed to, over the course of the next couple of hours or so, between you and Jade, you managed to replace anything that burned out during the barrage, and diagnostics come back with all systems nominal. Some of them are on the lower end of that. The FTL drive is still operating at lowered efficiency, and chances are there's nothing you can do about that until you actually set down somewhere.
Down. Yeah. Okay.
Give it a good work over, but for the time being, it looks like everything's good. You happen to have the nice thing is, so here's an interesting point. This is something I sort of forgot to deal with at the beginning, but you actually were able to find a bunch of the replacement parts that you needed that were already sort of on board, mainly because in the hold. Where currently there are like the colony's survivors are currently milling about, either setting up places to sort of rest, basically making their own spaces as much as they can, making the best of their current situation. A few of them had started digging around in the crates to see what was in there that they could use, and they started finding a bunch of different things. One of those things were replacement parts, basic replacement parts, like extras and stuff like that. But a lot of the stuff that they started finding in the crates looks like personal belongings, similar to what was found in the lockers, similar to what Mason found in the lockers. It looks like stuff that belonged to people. Yeah.
Do we as a party? Should we just let them outfit themselves with shit here? Like they probably have been in hiding for. We've been through all of it. I'm sure if there's anything that was of importance, we probably grabbed.
To be honest, without specific direction, they will have already started doing that.
Okay,
on their
fair.
own.
I mean, yeah.
I'm not gonna stop them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A few of them, are probably fine to stay in whatever clothes they had, but quite a few people are very happy for the chance to change out of the clothing that has blood on it and grime of survival and all that kind of stuff. So.
Okay. I got another clarifying question
Sure.
about stuff that's already happened a long time ago. Was the capital ship we woke up in intentionally unmanned, or was that seem like an aberration from what its intended voyage was?
I did a lot of digging on that, and I don't remember what for sure we found.
Maybe it wasn't completely clear. We knew there was nobody on it when we woke up.
What you saw in your poking around in the computers in just the short amount of time you had was that just prior to the ship's departure, everything was loaded up onto that ship. Everything was loaded and ready to go. And then just prior to the launch, there was a ship-wide last-minute inspection that had been sent around that basically everybody had to clear out for. And as soon as the last person was off the ship, everything locked up, and the ship took off, totally uncrewed.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, I've written down 10 days from departure, 2 months from session 0. Ship was unmanned, possibly hit a meteor field, and is stuck in degrading orbit. That's what I had written down. So, yeah.
Yeah. The emergency situation that you
found... It was
found...
unmanned by someone's design. We don't know who it was.
Right. Yeah, it definitely looks like some sort of intentional sabotage, but not intentional on the part of Silverbreak. And that much it was evidenced by the fact that the state of emergency that you found yourself in upon waking was probably unplanned, considering that
I remember
most of the damage had come from what was probably a meteor shower or something the ship just like a patch of meteors that the ship had run across unexpectedly.
With no pilot.
Yeah, without a pilot, it's difficult to avoid stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, Okay. Over the course of the next of like the day or so that you have in transit, eventually you're able to find that there is in fact somebody with medical training amongst the survivors, who you have her look over Peach. So hold on, let me find my notes. This is important. This is Abriel, who is she is Anzalonian, and she has we'll go ahead and have a scene in the med bay with all of you as she is looking. She's basically just run her tests and whatever. She's looking at all of you, saying, "As far as I can tell, she's just sleeping. Nothing. Her vitals are all normal. Heart rate's a little bit elevated, but otherwise, fine."
Do I feel anything from her? Like, if I like actually take a second to like focus on her specifically instead of just like ambient. Like, do I have any spikes of emotion? Does it seem like she's dreaming?
I mean, when people are sleeping, the emotional spikes that you get from them are sort of muted because they are.
She's the dampened, yeah.
And that's kind of what you're getting now.
I'm just happy, the muted subconscious.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
she says,
if she's just sleeping, what put her to sleep, and when is she gonna wake up?
I don't know. I wasn't there, and I can't exactly talk to her about it. So, but as far as all my and she says, besides, she gestures around the starkly empty medical bay. She says, besides, it's not exactly like I'm in the lap of luxury here in this room. She says, I work with what I'm given, which is nothing. So, best I can tell, she's fine.
Okay, yeah. So, I meant no offense. Thank you.
I'm not. Never mind. Look, she's gonna be okay probably. I'll keep an eye on her. If she doesn't come to consciousness soon, then we may have to transport her to a more advanced medical facility, which is not a high bar.
Okay.
She kind of glances around and says, if you want, I'll keep an eye on her for the next, well, until we reach our destination. It's not as if I have anything else to do.
Yeah, I think we'd all appreciate that, if you don't mind. Thank you.
If there's anyone else who needs your help, who is conscious, you could probably help them out. She's not really going anywhere.
If there's anybody else who's conscious who needs help, then they are probably well enough to walk their way over to here.
Fair point.
She kind of glances at you, kind of like looks at your flask and looks back at you. She takes it from you and just... Terrible stuff.
Yep.
She says, all right, I'll let you know if there's any change in her condition.
Thanks.
Thank you.
I mean, we'll turn on foot and leave.
And she just kind of, as you're leaving, she calls over her shoulder. She says, thanks for not getting us all blown up. She settles herself into a seat at the desk and just starts rifling through drawers. And you can hear her just sort of tisking at, like, the empty drawers.
Some amazing bedside manner, huh?
Clearly.
I mean, what can you expect given what's just happened? And, well, she's from a backwater colony on the uncharted corner of the galaxy.
I'm not too concerned. I think Peach just needs to rest. You weren't out there when we were escaping from those things. But she did display something very impressive, a very impressive ability, it seemed. I can't really explain it. Even I seem to move way more quickly than I usually do. But she put them to a standstill and we were able to run. They seemed to just stop all of a sudden.
Huh.
Spooky.
Mind control?
You blew up a door with your brain, so I think we're all having a weird day.
Yeah.
So, Bina, do you know anything about Sulan? Do you have any idea what we're stepping into here?
GM, do I know anything about Sulan?
Honestly, if anybody knew anything about Sulan, it would be the two of you, Olam and Bina.
Okay.
Olam from studies.
Yeah, I guess I've seen it on a map probably, but I don't
Yeah.
know. I've
I've
definitely
done
been
some
there.
traveling. Would I have had any reason to be there? Like,
You might have passed through at some point.
okay, yeah, because she did like
Yeah.
freighter, like shit like that. But
Yeah. So, just because I want to figure out how much you guys know, I'm gonna have you both roll. I'm gonna have you both roll for it. This is gonna be an intellect roll. The difficulty is gonna be 2.
okay.
Is this science or knowledge?
Yes, actually, yeah.
Okay, I drop it to 0.
Excellent.
Cool. Good to know.
Do
if I oh sorry, go on.
You can finish. You finish yours before I ask.
If I decide to still roll in hope of getting a 20, do I get like a bad GM intrusion if I roll a 1?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's the trade-off. That's the trade-off.
Yeah. Oh, I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
All right.
The only thing I might have is just from backstory. If I've been through here before, is the only thing I
Yeah,
can think of
I
to
don't
give me
think
an
so.
asset.
I don't know that you have anything that'll drop this.
Yeah, probably not.
Okay.
Okay, I'm just gonna roll. I'm just gonna roll.
6 or better.
I'm gonna roll even though I don't have to.
Natural 20!
She's back.
Nice.
Back,
Here we
baby! Ah.
All right.
And this time I was rolling like 2s when I started. I was just like rolling it to just see where it was
Gotta
at.
ramp them up.
Okay.
20!
So.
Yes. Is that the first one of the show?
No, Mason rolled 1 last time.
Mason rolled 20. That's
Or a
right.
couple
Oh
of
my god,
them.
that's right.
I don't
I'm
remember.
excited.
I
My
remember
first
one,
natural 20,
yeah.
so I'm excited that it's not a 1.
There were at
Yeah.
least a couple that got rolled
Yeah.
last time.
Oh, really? Oh my god. I think I was just.
Yeah. Okay.
God.
So, here's what you here's what
And
you
no
both
roll and a natural 20. What does that equate to?
what it means is that you both get a pretty solid picture of Sulan. It's actually not that hard to believe that both of you would know a lot of this information because Sulan is a pretty significant location. First of all, it's odd just because of the nature of the place, that it is a free-floating asteroid that is, for whatever reason, is just sort of stationary. Like, as far as anybody can tell, there's no gravitational force acting on it, but it doesn't move. Like, it doesn't. It's just perfectly stationary in space. So that's one thing. The second thing is that it is completely hollowed out, and as far as any records show, has always been that way, at least since the point of its discovery. But it's weird in other ways. For one thing, it is not only the first place that humans settled when they first arrived in this galaxy, but it is also the only place in this galaxy, probably, that is primarily human in population. That is, of course, a product of the fact that humans were the first ones to settle on it, as they were the first to discover it. Well, almost the first to discover it. So Sulan was founded exactly 1,300 years ago. And so about 40 or so years after humans first arrived in this galaxy. When they found it, they saw it as an opportunity, because the humans who arrived in this galaxy did so on legacy ships, having crossed over from their own over the course of many, many generations of their own kind. For many of these people, they did not expect to ever be able to live anywhere other than on their own vessels. Some humans during that time were granted asylum and sanctuary by some of the other governments who made provisions for them to settle on some of their own worlds. Some humans wished to remain on their vessels, preferring to stay nomadic. To this day, there's still a flotilla of human ships, some of which are actually still the original vessels that they entered the galaxy on.
That's so cool.
Still others went in search of their own places to settle, any uninhabited worlds that they could take on. Such a thing is a difficult feat in and of itself, and the humans who sought that, one particular group of them, the first place that they came across that had any sort of potential, as far as they saw it, was what eventually became Sulon, a hollowed-out asteroid. They founded a colony there mostly by scuttling their ships and turning them into dwellings and facilities of various kinds. However, it wasn't long after they moved there that they realized that they were not the only inhabitants of this asteroid. Sulon is to date one of the only places in the known galaxy where that is not a conduit that is inhabited by the mysterious insectoid beings known as the caretakers.
Oh, yes! Ugh.
They are never found anywhere other than the conduits, except in the case of Sulon. This discovery was made one day when the atmospheric processing that the humans who settled there had set up, it failed. But instead of causing them all to suffocate slowly, led them to the discovery that somehow this asteroid had seemingly gained some sort of atmosphere. It didn't have when they arrived. When they went looking for the cause, they found that many of the caretakers, without their knowledge, had set up natural atmospheric processing in the way that using technologies that only the caretakers themselves understand. Since then, aside from a few early misunderstandings, the habitation of this place has been largely symbiotic, with the caretakers running a lot of the machinery and that keeps the place habitable by the various species who have eventually settled there. Building facilities as more people arrive, or assisting with building as people have begun to expand the city within. For now, Sulon remains self-sufficient and outside of the control of any of the major systems of government. So that's what you know about all of this. Sorry, what were you saying, Caitlin?
I was gonna say, what could I I don't know what a major effect would be on a
Yeah,
history check. I don't
mostly
think it
this was just a sort of a way of figuring out how much this you would know.
So I was trying to be I don't even think that there's anything that I could possibly.
Yeah.
We just know lots about Sulon.
Sulon is a very unique place in many, many ways. The other thing that's notable is that that's notable about this is that it is weird, because it is the only place where the caretakers live in concert with other species who have not sort of joined their collective. That's a thing that happens when sentient species spend too much time around the caretakers. They just eventually become part of the hive and become just as obtuse and reluctant to answer any questions about the caretakers as the caretakers themselves. This is the only place that anybody knows where that has not happened en masse.
Huh. I have a thought.
Mm-hmm.
Question. For the Nat 20 major effect, could I make it true that Bina has been here once before?
Sure. Yeah.
Like, it would have been probably forever ago when she was still doing, like, freighter, like, trading stuff.
Yeah. And it makes sense
But
because given that it's not a lawless place like the border worlds, but given that it is outside of a lot of the major systems of government and law, it does mean that there is a higher than average trade in extra legal cargo.
Okay.
So that there is a significant portion of that they do try to crack down on. It's not like it's just a lawless place. It's just it makes it easier because laws get a little bit. Yeah.
I don't know if Bina would have done, like, outside of normal, generic, like, yeah. But
right, but like that, but basically all that to say that because of that,
trading happens.
There's a lot of trade, a lot of freighting that goes through there, mostly for that, which makes sense why Bina would have been there during her training.
She's essentially a sci-fi trucker. Like, that was her job for a while.
Cool.
Yeah, sci-fi trucker. That sounds like a space version of those like Euro Truck Simulator games, like sci-fi trucker.
That's basically what the crew is in the movie Alien, one of my favorite movies.
That's right, yeah.
I love that. I love that kind of stuff.
Yeah, she just had to drive. It wasn't like the most exciting time of her life, but that was what she thought she had to do to fly for a while. So
The interesting thing is that the city within Sulan is actually larger by far than the city that Bina lived on until recently on Station 23. This is a huge hunk of rock in space.
23 is really big, so that's wild.
Yeah, 23 is quite a large station, but in and of itself. But Sulan is at least 3 times the size.
Dang. Okay.
Yeah, it is a full-on city in there.
Oh, dang. Okay.
Which, for the purposes that you now find the situation you want to find yourselves in, make it an excellent place to disappear for a little while.
It's as I guess Bina like lays some of this stuff out, and I'm like, oh yeah, I remember a couple things too.
We have between the two of us, we have the I read about that. And, I saw that.
Sulan, not Sulan. So exactly. So it does sound like the right place for our purposes at this juncture, right?
I think so. Yeah, for sure.
Can the ship
Sounds
make
like
it?
sounds like a place you might be comfortable more or less too, Mason, right? Big city, lots going on.
Yeah.
I don't know. What are we gonna do about everybody else on the ship? I like lower my voice, make sure we're in a relatively private place.
I mean, I would offer to take them wherever home is, but we can't do that anytime soon. We have to not be on anyone's radar for a little bit, I think. There's a lot of trading and cargo that comes in and out from literally everywhere. We could take some time to try to get them connected with freighters that'll get them back in the right direction. I'm sure some of them would take civilian passengers, but I don't think we can be anywhere where we're gonna get spotted for at least a little while.
Yeah.
He called us his property, which, gross, but that means we're still on his radar.
Yeah.
If he knows who of us are still alive, he knows we have has a ship at least.
Yeah, I think he probably. Well, we may or may not care who we are, but the ship I think is probably important. Even these.
Ship now.
Yes, your ship, Bina. That's what I meant to say.
And I think she just had that realization. She's like, no, not his ship. This is Bina's ship now.
Something to keep in mind, which you already know, is if we are considered his property, which is despicable, I know, then he either wants us alive or dead. And at this point, I think we know the answer. From that last
He's going to shoot us
encounter.
out of the sky. So I don't think it matters to him.
I say, this is a whole lot. Our circumstance is dire. Everybody else on here is something of a fugitive too, though. They were about to glass them from orbit, right? If they're alive and they know things that they don't want getting out, they could be in as much danger as us.
some of them still probably owe time to
Yeah.
Silverbreak. Some of them were not here, I mean, voluntarily, but like out of trade. Their time for whatever they owed.
Indentured servitude.
They don't know, though. Hopefully, they don't know who's alive, except for the one or two who gave their names, which might be trouble for them, but
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think we can tell them what to do. Oh, maybe we should talk to. Oh gosh. Who's Derek? No. Who's the
Decker.
Decker.
Some. Oh, look at that.
Decker is having a crisis, so heads up. I don't know if I
Okay.
put that in my notes that I sent you, but
Oh, I did see that briefly.
Decker is in
Well,
crisis. That was probably the exact word.
If we can talk to
Yeah.
if we can talk to whoever's in charge, or de facto in charge here, I don't know.
The Skoru administrator, Skrissa, said that she would keep an ear out for anyone who might know things that we don't know, but I don't know. We don't even have like a good spread of who's even on the ship right now. I mean, at this point, hopefully their loyalties are no longer tied to Silverbreak after they watch them destroy their whole, colony with reckless abandon, and they're all essentially dead to Silverbreak, I would assume. So hopefully they'll be helpful, but I guess
I
just
hope.
keep an eye out.
I will keep
Yeah.
2 eyes out. And I can go around and I can ask questions if you need.
If you'd like to.
There's a lot of people. I'd like to know who and how many.
I gave up after one person. I didn't get very much out of her. Just a lot of I don't knows that mirrored my also I don't knows.
Okay. What's a priority right now for us?
Well,
I
once
want
we
to
get,
know why we're supposed to be there.
yeah,
But like also they might have different priorities.
I guess that's what I'm saying. Once we get to Sulon, if something calls us to be jumping off FTL somewhere else, it's going to be bad for us, and it's going to be bad for them if we still have these 30 people on the ship. And I don't want to just, you know what I mean? I don't want to sound callous, and I don't want to just dump them off in some asteroid. When I think Sulon is not a bad place, but that notwithstanding, I think it's in our best interests and theirs if we can find a place for them as quick as possible, and then do what we need to do. The 4 of us to find the answers we're looking for.
At the very, very, very least, Zulon is a big place and has a lot of resources and connections. So they have the option to get themselves where they want to go from here at the very least. It is our plan Z or whatever. If we can do more for them, I would love to, but I don't want to endanger any of us, because we don't know if we're putting them in danger by them being on the same ship as us, and we don't know if they're putting us. There's an equal level of danger, but like I don't know. There's a lot of I don't know.
There's going to be a lot of danger. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I would like to help them if we can, but not if it puts anyone at more risk than others. But I think an option is to get them set up at Sulon.
Well,
But we'll do more if we can.
Yeah, Mason, as you ask questions, and I guess if Decker's too in crisis to really lead, we have to figure out who they'll follow. Talk to them. I think.
Coleman, is there anything named Coleman?
Mhm.
Is also kind of higher ranking too. I think the 2 of them are up there, right? First class, is that the higher one? I don't actually know.
You mean
I don't know
of the
anything
2
about
of
a
them, which one's the
military-
superior officer?
Yeah, it would be Decker, right?
Decker's the superior
Yeah.
officer. Yeah.
But Sonia seems like Coleman seems like she has at least some leadership, maybe.
I'll tell you
Or
this.
she just brilliant, and I'm reading this wrong, and she was just kind of a one who was talking more.
She seems to be a little bit more collected than he is.
Yeah.
He seems like this is a sense that you've gotten of him over the course of like the last few hours, just sort of being around, he seems like someone who is put into a position to be responsible for a bunch of people in a survival situation that he was absolutely not prepared to be in.
Oh, okay.
And has basically just sort of been barely keeping it together for the sake of the people, his charges.
Okay.
She has been doing everything.
She was a quartermaster, right? That's what she said?
Yeah.
Okay.
She's been doing everything she can to support him, as far as you can tell. One thing that you have been able to spy pretty quickly, Bina, is that like the few times that you've gone back and forth to the hold, is that she seems to have a better personal connection with the other people.
Okay.
Yeah. So she's been trying to leverage that to basically help Decker.
Okay.
But right now, he seems to be the one who's sort of cracking under the pressure and under the uncomfortable revelations that have just sort of been presented to him.
Okay. He seemed like he had Silverbrick loyalties at one point, and now has been crushed a little bit.
What Coleman said was that he sort of believed in their not necessarily that he was loyal to Silverbrick, but that he bought the company line basically. They were out there trying to like make things better for people, and
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Decker's going to be my first stop, I think. Don't worry, I'll be gentle.
Oh, I wasn't worried, but now I am. Good luck.
Are you going now?
Whenever we break off from this.
Oh, I thought you were just like, all right, bye.
No. I'm just saying that'll be one of my priorities.
Is there anything else we need to, like, what do we need to solidify here? Like, we have the better part of a day, right, until we get there at this point, or is this, like, later in the trip?
This is maybe about 8 hours into your jump.
God, Beanie needs to sleep at some point. She has probably not slept at all.
Oh yeah, no, you're all. Olim's probably the better off of all of you. Maybe Mason, because he's used to getting not enough sleep. But
true.
Mason did rest a little bit.
He rested a little bit.
Bina has been nonstop. I think she's probably been like up and down from the bridge to the engine probably like 80 times in the past like
You've gotten
10
at
hours
least
or whatever.
Yeah,
for sure.
Out of all of you, Peach has had the most amount of rest.
That's right.
Yes, yeah, she's doing good.
Full recharge.
Yeah. So at this point, you're really starting to feel that. You're starting to like, it's starting to overtake you.
She's probably slowing down just by virtue of the fact that her speed pool is almost depleted entirely.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Piloting checks, baby.
Yeah. From resting, we do get those.
No. We can retroactively make a recovery roll, which like there's the one that's like the 10-minute one.
Mm-hmm.
Or did you
action 10 minutes?
You haven't done the action ones yet.
Can I
have
use
you?
my healing?
That's what I mean. Like you haven't. So the way that recovery rolls work by default is you get one that's an action, one that takes 10 minutes, one that takes an hour, and then the fourth one takes 10 hours.
I feel like
Did you use any of it? Because I think you have a power shift, which gives you an extra one that's an action.
Mm-hmm.
Did you use any of them?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so you actually technically could just recover twice right now.
Because I haven't actually. Yeah, I only use my dexterity as a power shift for this entire past.
Right,
thing,
I don't think you've used your.
I could have, but I didn't.
I think the only people who've made recovery rolls was it.
I made one.
You made one, and I think
rolled one.
Did Peach make
Yeah.
one?
I
know
don't remember.
at least two people made recovery rolls.
I asked about it a second time, but I only took one.
So the way they work on the track is you like once you've gone through all of them through the 10-hour, then they replenish.
Right, because they
Is that the
replenish
idea?
every day, and it's assumed that by the time you go through the 10-hour one, it is a new day.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to like have used as much as I can while resting here, right, to get back to the new day setting.
Okay.
I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to start that at some point, and I have not, so we'll see.
Yeah. Okay, so at this point, then, are you guys still having more conversation, or are you breaking off?
You want to go? You can go talk to Decker.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you need sleep, you should get it now, Bina. Sorry. Sorry.
I think she'll probably do one more sweep of the engine, double check on Jade if he's still down there, and
He
then
is, and he is asleep in a corner.
Oh.
Jade.
He's still holding.
Okay, no,
he's holding the data pad, like clutching it to his chest, and he's like asleep in the corner.
So proud of him. I'll wait for him to like be okay with it to show it to me. I don't want to look at a work in progress if he doesn't want me to see it. So I'm gonna go. You said there are like bins of like resource. Can I find like a blanket?
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to bring him a blanket. There's no way in hell she could lift him or take him anywhere. He's like 18 years old.
Yeah.
So she's gonna like, and she's 5 feet tall. So she's gonna just like
Yeah.
tuck him in, and then she's gonna go up to the bridge, and she's going to take a nap in the pilot's chair.
Okay.
She's gonna turn on all the alarms again because she pulled a bunch of plugs, I think, while we were doing things that she was not supposed to be doing. She's gonna turn everything on, and she's going to knock that chair back, and she's gonna take a snooze.
All right. In the cockpit.
Mhm.
Okay. Cool.
There are people who are like actually injured and need beds, and she needs to be on call in case the shit
Yeah.
goes down again. So she's gonna sleep up front.
Pretty much what's been happening as far as the colonist survivors go. They found the bunks and have basically been like trading out. Sort of like
There are probably a couple of beds in like the medical facility.
Yeah,
Like,
and
turn everything into a flat surface
right.
into a
And
bed.
outside of that, they've also had some like makeshift beds that they've made from like stuff that they found in the crates and things
Yeah.
like that. So there
Clothes and blankets and
yeah, or just like there are a number of like couches and things like that are bolted into the like part of the ship.
Yeah, I'm sure like family units like double up or triple up or whatever
Yeah.
if they can in the bunks and stuff. So yeah.
They're not quite big enough for that. They're like
Oh, I
made-
just meant like mother child could probably
Yeah.
fit in a bunk.
yeah,
Yeah.
that yeah. So generally, they're basically what I'm saying is that they're making do. They're finding ways of doing it, of making it work. So with this, Mason, are you going now to talk to Decker?
I'm gonna meander that direction. Yep.
And may I just tag along? I guess I ask. I say, hey, I think you know this fella more than I do, but do you mind if I tag along?
Not at all. Come on, let's go.
Okay, thanks.
All right. So, Mason, you make your way down to the hold. It takes you a minute. It takes you a minute to find him, because he's actually not in the hold with the rest of the colonists. Eventually, you do find him in a section of the ship that you've yet to explore, which is the highest deck, which is also the smallest, because it consists exclusively of what looks like an observation platform.
Cool.
It's just you can see that it's open to it has the largest windows of anywhere that you've seen in the ship, floor to ceiling pretty much. Not around the entirety of it, just towards the front. But you can see where there's just sort of a single opening, and then there's like one or two towards the back and the sides. Also floor to ceiling. The room itself has sort of what looks like kind of probably the most comfortable furniture that you've seen in the ship so far. Most of it was pretty, not that it's uncomfortable, just mostly pretty bare bones. And in the center of the room, you can see a place in the ground where there's just sort of like some sort of panel or hatch that looks like it opens just in the center of the room. At the moment, it's closed. You can't quite figure out what's going on there. But Decker himself is just sort of seated on one of the couches, sort of sitting off sideways, looking out the window. And when you finally find him,
I'm gonna knock.
mm-hmm. Just kind of knocking on the bulkhead, he sort of starts and looks over. He says, "Oh, hi. Sorry, just sort of watching, looking out the processing. Actually, that's what I'm doing."
Mind if I it's Olam.
Hi.
Trust him. You mind if we do the same?
Go right ahead. It's your ship after all.
Yep.
He just kind of slings his arm over the back of the couch, and turns, still just to kind of look out the window. One leg on the floor, the other one curled up to him on the couch, just sort of looking out. Sorry. Hell of a day. Hell of a week.
It's been a long one for you, yeah?
The longest.
Here's how I process sometimes. I pull out the flask and I just hand it to him.
He kind of takes it.
He got one thing.
Yeah, and he opens it. By
We'll
this point, it's
refill it
starting
as
to
you
it's starting to run a little empty at this point.
There was a question I was going to ask
Yeah.
and I lost track of
It's
that.
like
but
it's kind of towards the bottom at this point. He sort of swishes it around and says, kind of closes it and hands it back. He says, "No thanks."
Backwash.
He says, "I have to." He kind of glances in the direction of the door and says, "Still got to keep a clear head, as much as that's possible under the circumstances."
Well, I know it can't be easy learning the information you learned.
Yeah. Mostly, I just feel like an idiot. You know, corporations are corporations, no matter where they are. They're always going to do sketchy things. They're always going to do questionable things to get ahead. It's what they do. It's their very nature. But I don't know. Somehow, I still thought. I thought that if there were enough good people working in the corporations, that we could actually do some good. You know.
That's just a pile of crap, though.
Yeah. I see that now.
Well, take it from me. You're finding out the easy way.
That was the easy way?
Yeah. Well, I got my own stories. I don't want to bore you with them now, but there was a reason why I'm no longer part of the regulators.
Yeah. Everybody's got a story. Makes sense. He's quiet for a moment, and he just sort of he suddenly stands up and just starts pacing in the center of the room. He just says, "It's just... I was never supposed to be command. Never supposed to be in command of anything. I just came out here because I just thought that this was supposed to be a safe posting. You know, out on the fringes of the galaxy, a work colony, civilians mostly, nothing huge, a world that needed minimal terraforming. I mean, almost everything that we needed was there already. None of the problems that come with the usual colony postings. All of a sudden I find myself in command and people are dying around me and I can't stop it. They're dying on my watch. And what's more, I find out it's the very people that I'm working for who caused it. I feel like everything that I've done over the last... Well, since I joined up, all of it's been a lie.
Hey, hold on a second. I've only known you for a little while, but it seems to me that another part of that story is that 30 people who would have been glassed are alive and well while you were in command.
Yeah, I guess so. I just can't shake the feeling that it should have been more of them. Half the people in that room lost somebody on the colony. And they haven't said it. But... And they never would, but I'm the one to blame for that.
No, it's this silver break. It's not you. Not even close, kid. You know what you're gonna do now?
What?
You're gonna strap up those boot laces. You're gonna get them tight. This might not be what you signed up for, but you're here now, and there's people looking up to you. You might not think it. You might not think you deserve it, but hell, we've all been there. We've been on a rough patch here. I know you can do this.
He kind of looks up to the ceiling where you can see, like, towards the front of the ship, the floor-to-ceiling windows kind of continue over for, like, into the ceiling for a couple feet into the room. He just kind of looks up at them and just, at one point, just kind of... Yeah. You see as he just straightens his posture, once again, assuming that sort of military bearing, as he just says, yeah, you're right. And he sits back down where he was before. Says, yeah. What do you, I'm sorry, were you looking for me?
Hey, I just wanted to check in on you.
Yeah. I'll be fine. Gotta be.
That's right.
I wanted to say too that we're starting to think about what's going to happen when we get to Sulon.
Sulon. We're heading for Sulon?
Oh yeah, sorry, I should have let you
No,
know earlier.
It makes sense. It's a good place to lay low, disappear if necessary.
Exactly.
Makes sense.
Our hotshot pilot, Bina, has been there. It seems perfect for that sort of thing. Big populace outside of any official rule, but as far as I understand, not some kind of cesspool. So we were thinking, I don't know.
You're
we're just trying
wondering whether
figure
to
out,
take us with you or to dump us.
like I said, we're just thinking about what's going to be the right thing to do.
No, it makes sense. It's the logical next thing to think about. Honestly, he glances at the entrance again and then back to you. Says, "I'd say let them decide for themselves. I don't know where you all are going, but anybody, if you're not willing to take on any passengers, I understand. Makes perfect sense, and there isn't a better place that we could go than Sulon to book passage anywhere else we need to go. Mostly, don't worry about it. We can handle this ourselves."
I believe that for sure.
If we can get you somewhere safe and you guys can go somewhere from there, right? But I think we're heading to bad news.
Yeah. I think what's working in our favor right now is that they don't have an exact roster of who made it out. That's gonna work in our favor. That said, if they were willing to destroy not only the colony but and the resources that they put into it, but also, well, the people that were demonstrably still alive there, I don't think that anywhere is going to be safe for any of us. I'll talk to everybody, let them know the situation. Right now is not a time to sugarcoat the whole thing.
That's right.
They need to be able to make the decision, and we'll make it together. We're the only ones we've got left now.
For now. I have a feeling we on this ship aren't the only folks that have been wronged by Silver Break. And maybe soon we can all put our heads together.
Well, I'm gonna go talk to everybody, let them know the situation. Coleman's been trying to get me to say something, anything to them. So it's probably past time now.
All right.
He stands up and starts. He sort of straightens his uniform and just starts walking out, and turns back. Says, "Thanks, not just for what you said, but for getting us out of there. You could have cut and run. You didn't have to take us on, but you did."
Hey, it's a team effort. Leave nobody behind, right?
Right.
I walk up and I just kind of brush a little bit of dust off of his.
As he looks down where you brushed, he glances down. You can see that the silver break insignia is still on him, and he just reaches for it and just disconnects it from his uniform. Yeah. And just sort of takes it and says, "Guess I won't be needing this anymore." He takes it and just hands it to you. Says, "Here, get rid of that for me."
I got you.
And he turns and walks back to the lift, and enters it.
Hey, Olin.
Yeah, huh?
I'm gonna look for a bottle. You wanna join me?
Sure.
Flask is getting low. It's bad news.
That is bad news, isn't it?
We'll go ahead and cut to a few hours later. Bina, as you kind of wake up a little bit later in the cockpit, just sort of still exhausted.
Uneven antennas for a second while she gets up.
Yeah. You sort of sit up, stretch for a moment, kind of take a glance at the displays in front of you, just making sure everything's still okay.
Wake everything up, with her.
Yeah, everything's good. You're just sort of idly flipping through the displays, just watching, before you gradually become aware of a sense of confusion. And it's one that you felt before, when you restarted the ship's power.
I look around the bridge.
Yeah. So one of the things about Orzai and their natural empathy is that after a while of sensing the same emotions from the same source, emotions are kind of like fingerprints, in that everybody has them and they feel them differently, and after a while you start to be able to become familiar with their sources. And this one, you can, while you're not familiar with it yet, you know that it is, I mean, it's you can trace it sort of to the same one.
It's a voice I've heard before.
Yeah, it's like hearing a voice that you've heard before. That sort of same familiarity, and you sort of glance around, and looking around the cockpit, you're alone, and it's been long enough that just listening for you don't hear the sounds of people moving around anymore like you were earlier. It seems like most people are probably resting. You don't hear anybody in the corridor. But you're still feeling that same sensation, that same sense of confusion.
She does what she did before and just kind of looks around and kind of puts her hand on a console and says, "Hello?"
You kind of glance around, and as your chair is turned sort of halfway between the forward view screen and the corridor, and you're kind of looking at the displays, just sort of looking around. Out of the corner of your eye, you catch movement. You kind of glance towards the corridor, and as you're looking that way, you see a person, apparently like a human woman, not dressed the same way as any of the colonists, walking across the corridor into the room that is opposite where the bunks are. You didn't really get a good look at all of the colonists, but you're reasonably certain she wasn't one of them.
Bina's up and investigating.
Yeah. You slowly make your way down the corridor, glancing first in towards the bunks, where you can see Mason is currently asleep on the couch in that room, in the common room. And you glance into the opposite door where you saw her walk, and making your way inside. This looks to be a small maintenance compartment. The interesting thing is, you don't recall having seen a door to this room earlier. And
I
as
know
you're
it's been chaotic, but I wouldn't think I would miss a
yeah,
whole
as you're looking
room.
at it, you kind of look at the entrance, and you can see where the construction of the ship, the bulkhead, has been built to conceal a room here.
Oh, okay.
As you step into the room and you look around, it looks like some sort of. I said maintenance storage before. I'd say it doesn't necessarily look like maintenance storage. It's just sort of an empty chamber that suggests probably it was intended to be sort of a storage of some kind. It's a type of compartment and concealment that is mostly used on smuggling vessels, but has certainly probably has its place in vessels of other types, like espionage vessels and things like that. Hell, even on a diplomatic vessel, it would be a useful thing to have a room that nobody could find if they boarded.
On a vessel that has been so heavily personalized that potentially only one person or crew knows how all of its intricacies work.
But the most striking thing about this room is currently its only other occupant other than yourself, which is the human woman who is standing on one side of the room, light brown skin, curly dark hair that comes just below her jawline. As she glances around the room, seemingly not doesn't acknowledge your presence in the room, just sort of glancing around the room. As she looks at you, your eyes meet, and the thing that is the most striking about her is that you're not entirely sure at first, but as she kind of moves, you can tell that you're actually seeing the opposite wall behind her, through her. As she looks at you and she says, "Where am I?" And that's where we're going to pick up next week.
Yo!
What?
Ghost ship!
Oh my gosh. Ooh.
Am I?
Ship's haunted!
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Friggin' totally cool. This is so fucking cool.
Oh, man.
Oh.
Oh my gosh. Y'all!
Crazy.
I'm so
Aw.
excited!
Me too. You look at these cliffhanger timings are perfect,
So
Yeah.
my friend.
good. Oh, it's
They are.
chef's
Listen,
kiss.
I have a brand as a GM.
We
Okay.
know this about you.
I buy this brand. I will buy this brand.
Oh,
Brand
man.
loyalty. We're all here for it.
All right. Well,
God.
we gotta go. So
We gotta go. We gotta get out of here.
I know we could all totally play for way more hours, but whew. Anyway, that is sadly not how this works. So anyway, first of all, thank you everybody who stuck with us till the end of this, who came in at any point. And we're glad that you were able to be here with us, as we always are. Geek Out says more
Olivia.
content.
I hope Olivia feels better.
Yeah.
She said she's gonna finish the episode tomorrow.
Yeah.
Good luck with your missing bones. I hope you feel better.
Yeah, so we'll see. Hopefully, we'll get to have Olivia back next week with improved audio quality.
Yeah.
So
We're smoothing out all of the wrinkles, guys,
Yep.
with everything. It's new stream, new problems.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
yeah, so Olivia got a new microphone, so hopefully that will improve her audio, and yeah, we'll just slowly chip away at all of the quirks of the stream.
Slowly but surely.
Yes. In space.
Yeah. So, I was going to say more words, but I realized I have used them all on the game. Henry, if you would, if you would just.
Thank you, everybody, for being here. Keep your eyes on the social medias. I guess specifically Twitter for this episode coming out on as a podcast, and it'll be on YouTube this coming weekend. Thank you again. Thank you so much for joining us. Join us again on Friday for Ramblemancy, if you like, at 7 p.m. Pacific, in which we're going to talk about nature and its place in stories. And then wherever the heck that leads, like a branching tree, like the roots of a tree,
Into the
if
woods.
you will. Yeah, I guess. And of course, on Mondays, 5:30 p.m. Pacific, D&D, the Dreamwell Chronicles, sci-fi and fantasy on a single channel.
Yeah, John and I were talking about this earlier, and we were talking about how like in this episode of Infinite Horizon we had a ship chase, and in next episode of Dreamwell Chronicles, like they've sort of
They're locked and loaded.
Yeah,
for
they
a
ended
ship.
sort of as fugitives on a ship. So
Yep, there's. Oh gosh, it's gonna be weird seeing all the parallels between
I know.
these shows. Yeah, I had fun listening to it on Monday.
yeah. So anyway, we'll see you at our whenever you choose to whichever stream you want to show up for. We'll see you then, and we'll see you the next time you decide to come roll with us. Good night, everybody. Thanks so much for being here.
Good night.